bass right there. Love is a mystery. When it is there, everything looks heavenly. When it is gone, everything looks simply stale, meaningless. You could not have lived without this person, and now you cannot live without this person. Both are authentic states. So my meaning of commitment and your meaning of commitment are different. Your meaning is legal, my meaning is not legal. I'm simply describing you to the quality of love. What happens when you are encompassed by it? The commitment happens. Commitment does not create love. Love creates it. Love is first. Commitment follows it. If one day love disappears, commitment will also disappear. If it was a shadow. If one day this love disappears, the commitment will disappear. It was a shadow. When love is gone, don't talk about commitment. Then you are being foolish. It was a shadow of love. It always comes with love. And if love is no more, it goes and disappears. You don't go on harping, but what about this commitment? There is no more commitment if love is not there. Love is commitment. Love gone, all commitment is gone. This is my meaning. Osho. Welcome to this live stream. Yeah, my sister, my stepbrother, I guess they're doing some human stuff with my sister's, well, my niece. She's actually this very, very interesting, very creative, intelligent 1.5 year old. She's like 1.5. Brilliant. Brilliant infant, but yeah. I'm gonna return back to our studio here for the sake of the volume, the audio. Yeah, but it's been very interesting though. I found in the last 24 hours I kind of have this realization relating to content. I've been sort of conceptualizing, basically returning to this core style of content that I created, when this channel was very new, when I was like, several months ago. When I basically was trying to, sit there and think, be like, how can I connect with the YouTube sphere? How can I, really learn to acclimate the algorithm, find ways to create creative content that's really connected? I'm talking to the viewer. What do you think? I mean, dog, this is a live stream. I'm talking to the viewer now. I'm talking to the future viewer, the offline viewer. But yeah, no, but long story short, I've created this video style that I've been playing around a lot when I was very new to this. Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you're new to a live stream. Alright, it's Michael. What's good, brother? I guess you are new to a live stream, so welcome, dog. Yeah, the idea is I talk to the stream space because as these videos, they're put out to the public afterwards, this becomes a video content where, the perceiver after the offline audience watches this video. Yeah. But the idea is that I've basically been experimenting with this idea of creating content where what I do is I'm making guitar tutorials where I break down riffs, say I'd be like, I play a riff and I break down the riff, but each riff is actually inspired from either a place around the world, a movie scene, a scene, maybe like a very peak scene from a show, a TV show, like an anime or a movie. And I basically take the energy of the movie. If you look early on my content, I've had videos where I remix the energy from Lord of the Rings, energy from maybe 47 Ronin, from Last Samurai, from Attack on Titan, whatever it is, right? I just take dimensions of these scenes and then I create a riff. Maybe it's in the same key, maybe it's just really connecting with the energy of these songs, these compositions, whatever they are, movie scores, video game scores, but I'm also doing this with parts around the world. So what I found was I, for some reason, found myself connected to the beaches of Maldives. So the beaches of Maldives. So I just basically created this experimental video this morning where I captured this beautiful beach scene and then I wrote a riff, just a silky little composition, and I broke down the riff. So basically I'm teaching these elements of pinch harmonics, these elements of basic legato, guitar compositions, but I'm unpackaging in a very interesting way that is directed to a riff that is oriented to the energy of whatever it is. And it's, I don't know, it's a very experimental style of content. Do I like smoked meats? No, sir, I'm vegetarian. I'm vegetarian. I've been for 11 years. I mean, I must say, I look fondly, I vividly remember, I'd say steak, like in a cuisine level, steak and chicken wings. For some reason, those are things I think in a culinary level, I still appreciate. I haven't eaten meat in like 11 years again, but I don't know. They have a great culinary quality, I feel. Let's master this audio a little bit here for this. Yeah. What's good, Raven? Welcome, brother. I found this at a show the other night where, for some reason, I was playing around a lot with this, contact juggle ball.
And I found myself unlock some interesting parallels relating to this flow of this. It's almost like, when you really wrap your mind around the way to orient and contact juggle ball, the way to really isolate it successfully. A lot of contact juggling is really using the entirety of your entire body, leaning into basically the weight displacement of how your whole body can lean into a movement and then making the illusion that the sphere is staying still while your entire body can actually move around the sphere, your entire hand, your entire arm. You just create a very, yeah, how you doing, Raven? Lefty? No, the screen is flipped. Yeah, the screen is doing an inversion. Yeah. Yeah. But anyways, I'm excited to explore this dimension of how basically, because I know something that I did back is this one. I don't know if you guys ever watched Attack on Titan. There's a peak scene. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a peak scene um, where there's a transformation. Without giving anything away, there's a transformation, and in this transformation, there's a beautiful score. Like it's like a movie, well, not a movie score, but an anime score. Very beautiful theme that has like a very opera, very cinematic sound that flows through. And I found myself remix this very riff and break it down, for my audience as content. And what's interesting is it's like when you look at some of these melodic ideas, like they're like opera, almost like orchestrations, right? It's like, again, the Attack on Titan, part of what I love about this series so much is if you really, listen in to the piano melodies, which I take away a lot from. I'm very inspired from the Attack on Titan piano melodies, or just the orchestra, opera, just the creative musical ideas that really set the tone, that create energy, that collaborate with, the dynamic storytelling in the show. There's peak moments in this series, and part of what I'm inspired to do is to break down riff ideas that is remixing the energy of these peak scenes and then just, using as a reference point to teach harmonics, teach guitar, and all that stuff. Yeah. We're gonna pop into G sharp here. Yeah. Magic. Yeah, no, part of this realization with, I found myself continuously spiral around the core concept that I really believe is the key to succeeding in busking, but both performance or content creation, that is. So maybe how they connect is basically realizing how you as a artist, a performer, a musician, or whatever it is, creator, can make your content or your experience, your performance, if it's busking performance, as palatable as possible. That is, make it basically as simple, as universally palatable as possible. And for me, like an artist like myself, I'm a kind of guy that I very much like to, focus on my engagement. I'm all over the map. I'll create different dynamics. I'll really try to weave in various different dimensions of performance. I like to get experimental, very simply. But the simplest truth, the thing that I've seen over and over again, as I've gone this content journey for several months, as I've like observed what has really resonated with people in, say, a busking performance or whatever it is basically keeping it rooted and connected to what works. So what I mean by that is like I look at, simple elements where my mind will maybe think, but that's too easy. That's too, I don't know, maybe it's too consistently simple. Like, my mind would, because I'm a kind of guy that I unpackage dimensions of music and songwriting. I'm always trying to, make it novel. I'm trying to make it experimental. I'm trying to make it something new. But when I look at the perceiver, like when I look at the way I can honor the perceiver, I can honor to unify myself with that which is perceiving this. I realize that in many rites, for the perceiver, the one that is not performing it, everything is new, everything is fresh. Every little detail, every little element. If I've played a thing a million times, for me, I'm desensitized to the beauty of certain little elements. So, but for those that are just, if you're busking, you're like roving by and there's people that are just flowing through in the universe, or if you're in a stream or you're creating something, it's important to realize what is universally palatable. So it's just like, if I play a riff, I'm like, it's something that maybe in my mind, I'm like, okay, that's very simple, that's very rudimentary. In some rights, it sounds beautiful, I think, in every right. But it's important to almost, in my mind, keep things simple, but also focus on what is universally palatable. And I think how this looks like in action is really just returning to what works, so to speak, like being like, oh, word, creating sound dimensions that are maybe sort of what I did with my long format content. It's like people really seem to respond to riffs, like breaking down riffs, like a universal brilliant content idea is doing something that you could do a million times. Like say I'm like, here we are. That's a beautiful riff, right? There's a means of I could be like, okay, well, how did I do this riff? I found myself capoed this fourth, and I'm fretting here on the capoed third or the fifth or the seventh fret, capoed respectively. So I'm here fretting this fifth string and the second string and just explaining how I'm now jumping into the second fret here. And doing a fingerstyle pattern that's very simple, using the thumb, the second and the third finger, and really just like these simple elements. For me, I'm like desensitized to the value of unpackaging these ideas in a simplistic way, but in a universal level. For those of you that are new to this stream, that are strangers, or people are flowing through and experiencing these things for the first time, it's important to like step outside of that subjective perspective and be like, how can I really appreciate and savor the simplistic elements of the things that are universally palatable or appreciable? So I don't know, that's just a thought that's been flowing through a lot, and honestly it's translating to a lot of powerful perspective. Because I'm the kind of guy, I'm like jumping around at many different experimental concepts. I'm always like, what is the vision? 5 months in the future, what is the next phase of this existence or this thing, which has value. It's important, I think, if you desire to take a page from my book or from a book of someone that's maybe looking in a different sort of lens, it's valuable to be a visionary in the sense where you're like, what is the next phase of whatever I'm doing right now? Whether you're a musician or you're an athlete or wherever you find yourself, what truly is, like if you can focus on what is the next phase that you're emerging into, extraordinary things can happen. Basically, this is how you build momentum in life. It's like you realize that everything you're doing is phasing into something. It's unraveling into something. What tune am I using? What's good, brother? I'm using G sharp. Well, I've capoed the fourth, so I'm in standard, and I capoed the fourth here. Really love this tuning. It's basically an open G sharp. Oh. Sometimes a little bit confusing because, it is a minor key, so you gotta like switch the way you orient the fretboard. But open G sharp, beautiful tuning. I do this a lot, especially this last week when I improvise. I'm just doing, and the part of what's dope about open G sharp is it fits really well for the pan flute. very natural. But yeah, anyways, the next phase of where one's at. Like if you almost look at it objectively, you're like, what is this truly unraveling into? Like, whether you're like, I'm a martial artist and I'm on the martial art path, or if you're a dancer and you're figuring out, prop manipulation or whatever it is, right? There is something that you're phasing into. There's a next phase that is you're leaning into. Maybe you haven't figured it out. Maybe you're just pulling those threads. Maybe you're discovering that, presently now as you're looking at certain elements of music or guitar or whatever it is. But the idea is, I remember having this epiphany when I was on mushrooms about around COVID. Actually, it was. When I was running every day, doing like what's it called? Free running through the forest. I was doing forest parkour basically, and I had this epiphany where I was like, you know what? Everything can be sort of ascribed. Like the ability to make momentum literally just requires you to always be allowing yourself to see what the next phase is. What the next step is. Like objectively being like, what am I truly phasing into? Are you phasing into maybe engaging in a new martial art or a new style of training again? Or, maybe your next phase is to open your heart and push yourself in your comfort zone and, I don't know, do whatever it is you want to do in this life. But it's like, there's something beautiful when you truly are able to just focus on what you're phasing into. And then once you realize that, building momentum, like your idea of like, but what do we do next? What can I, take the next steps of action to do? It becomes very intuitive because you're like, I understand the larger context of what you're phasing into. Yeah, standard with just a capo, exactly. I know a lot of people, I think they're curious on because what I do is, if the simplest, right, the way I play guitar often, like capo or not, is I'm basically scaling, like I'm doing scales, but I'm doing them both vertically and horizontally in a free-form way via double-handed tapping. So, instead of just doing a scale, instead of going, I'm doing vertical and horizontal, which is, not that complex. Like most of you probably know how to scale on this fashion. But this is basically, for me, I always found scaling for me was more attractive to do it horizontally. Being like, it just made more sense. And then as I learned double-handed tapping, for me, eventually, I just bridged the worlds where I was like, a little bit weirder on G sharp, but yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah. Ashe Wonka in the Pan Forest Factory. Yeah, I gotta say, it's high praise to be compared, well, to Heath Ledger. Shout out Heath Ledger, rest in peace, Heath Ledger. But Willy Wonka, he's a dude that's like a creative genius who, weird guy though, weird story, but weird fellow, but his life is revolves around giving people happiness through chocolate. And as a guy that drinks cacao every day, I gotta say, Willy Wonka, that's high praise. But I don't know, Willy Wonka's hat is not this, I would say, this fashion. It's not like dark red. It's got a different, unique quality. This is a hat I designed myself. It's a little bit different from Willy Wonka's hat. Because this hat's never existed until I designed it, really. That's the beauty. That's the beauty. For those of you watching, this is kind of the part of my message, maybe, pick up your guitar, step into the real world, rock hats. Hats are back. We're going back to the 1800s, back to the 80s, rock star, whatever. Phase, this is your invitation. The hats are back. Hats are back officially. If you forgot, if society hasn't got the memo, hats are back. We're back in the hat era. And I'm talking about like trippy, 1800s, like whatever the fuck happened. I don't know, I'm not really familiar with the 1800s, but it's like there was a time when, it was the thing. Everyone was like distinguished, everyone had big curled mustaches and, had canes and stuff, and everyone was rocking hats, like men in particular. I think that's the move. Hats are the way. be honest. Thank you, Shauna. I'm happy you're here. I'm happy to have you here in presence. I know for a fact it's been an interesting, like very interesting week for myself. You know, I think I've been very verbal as I was sick for about 5 days. And in those 5 days, at the peak of those 5 days, I microdosed lysergamides because we're not going to use any substance words to normalize not getting demonetized. But I basically was playing around with lysergamides. If you know what those are, you know what those are. But I had a very small microdose of lysergamides. And, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, right? But the idea is I had some very beautiful epiphanies flow through. In the simplest, right? I've talked about this probably to everyone that I've been given. It's like I've been on this quest to return to giving myself permission to simply be, to be nothing, to become nothing, nothing to do, nowhere to go, no one to become. Like it's like a strange mentality. I don't know if this resonates. I mean, it makes sense maybe in a philosophical, psychological way, but basically, long story short, did a microdose of lysergamides, and it warranted me to basically develop a very extensive meditation practice. And in these meditation practices that I've been engaging in, the core element has literally just been, with a core message, just be. I have nowhere to go, truly. I don't have to do anything. Like in the simplest context, it's like, the desire to be like, but I need to train, I need to go to the gym, I need to, do a stream here, do a stream there. It's like, yeah, true. These are things that are in the realm of possibility. But there's something that's very penetrating in giving yourself permission to be like, yes, but you can also just sit and do nothing. You can just be. You can just go into a forest if you're a forest, and just be present with nothingness. Like you're allowed to basically just do nothing for extended periods of time. And again, for myself, for many, especially as a streamer that's been grinding out streams for the last several months or 6.5 months, it's a thing that doesn't feel organic, but if you really understand that felt experience of what ruminates through your being, when you give yourself permission to just simply do nothing, it doesn't mean you're going to do nothing all day. It doesn't mean you're going to simply become nothing and do nothing for the entirety of your day, but it's that idea of giving yourself permission to truly let it all go. In the moment, you're just like, in this moment, I'm giving myself permission to just be. Do nothing. Yeah. What's good, Cat? What's good, Cat? I've not been tuning in very much. That's good, brother. It's all good, brother. I took a day or two off. In truth, like I was really focusing on, getting better. I was like sick for a few days. So it's all good, dog. It's all good, dog. I'm glad you're here. I've also been experimenting with this weird thing. Weird, like awesome, but basically we're gonna try to do this right now. I don't know how this is gonna flow through, but I've been experimenting with using. Wow, it's weird to see myself. Look at this guy. But yeah, the idea is I've been experimenting with using this prompt function, this chat prompt function. Yo, what's good, Remy? What's good, Remy? What's good, dog? Congrats on the YouTube award thingy. Yeah, it's I guess less than an award, a little. It's like what's the word? Whatever they call it, an honorarium or honorarium? No, it's whatever that word is. Basically, they gave me a little plaque thing that said congrats, you're in the partner program, meaning that I have successfully been accepted to be monetized in their partner program, which is kind of cool because I'll be honest. When I applied for it, they told me that it takes about a month. Like they're like, okay, you applied for the partner program, and it usually takes about a month to get processed, and then you'll enter the program. Not even 24 hours later, like 10 hours later, I got a message on my emails like, you've been accepted in the YouTube partner program. And I was just like, damn, like what? That is great news. Because I was like, word, I'm gonna have to just hang tight for a month and wait for them to process my application. But fortunately, it didn't take very long. So that's cool. Send sparkles for 2 jewels. Word. Interesting. Thank you. I don't know what that is. I don't know what a sparkle is or a jewel. I don't know if that's... I know I enabled gems or gifts or whatever those are. I've never received those. Oh, I see it. I see it now. I got 7. Nice. Lucky number 7. Thank you, Shauna. Yeah, that's a thing I just enabled yesterday. Is gems, jewels, whatever exactly those are. But thank you so much, Shauna. Shout out, Shauna. Honestly, I'm not familiar. I'm very foreign, very new to these monetization methods. Like I got some donations already, which I'm really feeling blessed. Like I've already just in the last couple days received some beautiful donations where I'm like, damn, like I'm actually like, it's surreal. I'm like, I don't even know how to process the fact that I've exited official pro bono mode. So I'm no longer a pro bono YouTuber. But this is good. This is great. It feels, I think I told you guys very openly, I had a friend I ran into on the beach who basically reflected to me. We're having this deep conversation about like, I don't know, integral marketing and business and YouTube and whatever. And it was an interesting conversation. He basically reflected me. He's like, brother, the phase you're in is so simple. You know, the message is flowing through to me. To you, it's to receive. It is just to receive. You know, you give, you're giving. You've been in this dimension of offering, of giving, of creating. But now it is your time to just simply receive in every right of what that is. And I remember being like, you know, aligned and affirmative. I was like, yeah, brother, I get you. I really, that makes sense. But it was interesting how deeply that like applies. Like he was speaking about being open to receive, like, you know, be it if it's like you give yourself permission to actually receive money. Like say if it's like from the universe at large or sponsorships, just putting yourself in an energetic alignment with receiving, which is interesting because for me, you know, even in the way I write off caveats, I'm like, oh yeah, I do this pro bono, like no expectations, no pressure, which is all relevant. It's all true. There is no expectations. There's zero pressure. I don't desire to achieve metrics of monetary value from these particular things, but I think it makes sense. Like what he was speaking to of giving yourself almost like a vibrational permission to receive, whether we're talking about, you know, just receiving the people in your life or receiving, you know, space holding, the community, the audience, or receiving money naturally on a larger scale. It's like a vibrational thing you got to accept and receive. So I found that very beautiful. But lately I've been trying to discover the best way to achieve peace. Yeah. Wow. You're doing, I gotta say, brother, Genius Tracks, five things, number 5 fitness. You're doing great, brother. Like honestly, I love to hear. So I'm on the inside sparring and getting bombs thrown at me. Weird mental game. Wow. I hear you. I think you mean metaphorical bombs. But I feel you, brother. I commend you for still diving deep on that martial art path. Like, you know, getting in sparring sessions, like exercising that primal energy. But in essence, yeah, I really feel I've been in a similar stance. Like I've really been in a similar place where wow, fire as hot as fried chicken. Damn. That's yeah, hot as fried chicken. I don't eat fried chicken anymore, but I gotta say I love the aesthetic of fried chicken. Like for some reason, it's weird the fact of like you see fried chicken, like fried chicken and waffles. Both things I don't really eat anymore, but I have to say I have a deep appreciation for the yeah, fried chicken. Remy. I vaguely remember Remy. I vaguely remember you, Remy. I'm trying to remember the context. If you remember the context of what our conversation was last time we interacted, then they would probably come through immediately. This is a riff for the homie genius. Little botched, but it's, you know, to allow oneself to sort of conquer that which is resisting, accepting peace and serenity. Now, again, I've been in a similar place, genius. Like, I feel you, brother. Like I kind of said, I think I'm not sure if you were here when I've been talking about, I did lysergamides, because we're not gonna express or verbalize scheduled illicit compounds on the stream anymore, because we're entering monetization. Probably the next week or so will be fully monetized ad revenue. So if we're going to discuss compounds, scheduled substances, that is psychedelics, we're basically going to use vague terms like altered states of consciousness, or call them fungi or lysergamides or maybe tryptamines. Like, we're just going to use vague wording and context. Now, no specifics relating to a substance. But anyways, I did lysergamides and had a very, very powerful experience that basically translated into me invoking a lengthy meditative practice that I've been, upkeeping the last 4 days. I actually, I got sick for about 5 days, and in the process of doing the lysergamides, and the day after that, I literally did very, very little other than just play pan flute, breathe, and meditate in the forest. Like, really, it's like meditated at home, meditated in the forest, meditated, with my partner. We go here and there, and I went to a rave the other day. But it's like, the idea is the meditation practice has seemed to instill itself, awaken from this lysergamide experience where I was like, word, like, this is so clear, just the feeling, the tendency of giving myself full permission just to be, nothing to do, nothing to try to become, nothing to know where to go. And this was a very prevalent thing, is like on this lysergamide, I literally was like in this active state where I was like, you know what? I did this microdose and I was like, okay, well, let's now go to the forest. Let's go to a beach. Let's do a live stream. Let's go to the gym. Like, my mind was just like, go, go, go. It was like, all right, we've done this beautiful, psychedelic experience. But my brain was still in that state of like, but let's go places. Let's do this. Let's fulfill this day. Let's achieve. Let's, get some monetary metric of achievement. But I immediately then realized that the lysergamides, this will take practice and not say compounds, but I don't think they're gonna have any, they can't demonetize me at this point. About a guy that does that. We talked about you could go live in the mountains and play guitar. That I could. Wow, thank you, brother. I appreciate the support, honestly. But really, it's like, I appreciate you listening, brother. Like, truly, I have to say, with full transparency, this practice is almost like Alan Watts. Like, hell, it's a very Alan Watts type of philosophy of like, truly, nowhere to go, no one to become, nothing to do. And it's not about doing nothing. It's not about literally being, okay, now all day I'll do nothing. On the lysergamide, I did, in fact, do nothing all day. But it's about returning to that state of consciousness where you're giving yourself full permission. Like, if I were to be right now, I did this when I was in the gym. Earlier, I actually had this interesting interaction. I'm not sure if the homie Michael is still there. Yeah, how do I... Let's give a heart. Magic. Appreciate you, brother. Honestly, I've been thinking about it a lot, and I would love to bridge these worlds and do a talk with you, Genius. If you want to talk more, that is like, let's find a... I think what we need to do is, if you use Zoom or WhatsApp, I would love to schedule just a talk where we can talk. And then if you want to try doing this collab stream, I've never done a collaborative stream before, but if you want to like pop on and we can just talk about, your training, my training, fitness, how we've connected to our body, I think that would be a beautiful transition to try the collaborative feature. Like, I've leaned into it, and I think it'd be a brilliant idea. But yeah, I got $5. Yeah. It feels surreal. Honestly, it's similar to when I was busking, in like my city. It was the same feeling where people would like throw me $5, or I remember this one Russian guy gave me a 20, and I was like out of body. It's like an out of body experience. I'm like so enchanted by the idea. I'm like, wow, this person has supported me, but it's such a beautiful interaction. I'm like, it's not even about the money. I mean, it is about the money, surely. Like, the money is amazing, but it's interesting how it's the fact that I myself have stepped into a portal, an interaction, or an arena where I've now opened up this ability to be of service. Like, to be of service in the way I'm creating something that is music, or... And it has this universal impact. So thank you. It's basically what I'm saying is, it's so valuable to see that people see that I'm someone worth investing in. Like even the simplest doesn't even have to be a monetary metric, but it's like that action seems to really just inspire me. Like it motivates me. Like, wow, like people are invested in what I'm doing, whether it's like, likes and engagement. The investment goes very far, which is maybe clear cut because this is YouTube land, but thank you, brother. I'm busy traveling for Cali's Basic Weekend. I'll hit you up. Let's do it, brother. Like honestly, again, what I'd love to do is this is what I'd love to normalize doing is if I have people, like I have, a handful of people that I could see myself connecting with, doing some really cool conversations with, I'd love to take a moment to be like, all right, let's hop on a Zoom call or let's find some platform outside of YouTube where we can just have just a conversation, like, have a little like brief of like what we would love to talk about, what we're feeling, just connect more, and then yeah, just hop on. I mean, or we can just plunge into it. I'm cool with that too. But anyways, say la vie. Um, yeah, very Alan Watts-esque. Um, Meditating and giving yourself permission just to be. Like what I want to make clear is it's not an action per se. It's not even like a verbal dialogue. It can be like being like, okay, I give myself permission to just be. But what I've noticed, it's more an energy. It's a feeling. And maybe again, this is like third eye activation in relation to the Lysergamides, but the feeling of being like, here it is. I have no one to become, nothing to do, nowhere to go, truly nowhere to go. It almost like awakens like a childlike sense of adventure, of permission to just explore and be in any given context. Like, it's like right now, if I'm like closing my eyes, I can be like, maybe I can, maybe I cannot evoke that feeling of just nothing to do, nothing to be, nowhere to become. Then again, it's easier said than done, but it's funny because when I was at the gym yesterday, I ran into this one fellow, very interesting fellow, and we talked briefly, and I found myself as I was training, as I was sitting in the gym, I was evoking the same feeling of what I was evoking in meditation in between my strength training sets. I was doing bench press, chilling at the bench, and I would do qigong in between these sets, breathing, whatever. And I was trying to access that feeling. I'd close my eyes, be like, nothing to do, nowhere to go, nothing to do, nothing to become, like nothing. And it's like a feeling that I was trying to access, like, just feeling it, really feeling into my body, the feeling of being like, I give myself permission to just be nothing, to do nothing. Like I don't have anything that I have to do, nowhere I have to go. And yeah, it was interesting. My whole body started buzzing actually. Like I was in this state where I was doing qigong and then I would do my bench press set and then I would just close my eyes and try to access that state and be like nothing do. And it's like it was a very progressive thing. But yeah, very cool. So I hope that resonates. And for those that are watching, like I hope if you can take anything, because I'll be honest, without going too deep down this rabbit hole, and it's this Lysergamide experience in relation to unlocking this extensive meditation practice, and again, underlining this feeling, it has unlocked so much perspective. Like it's almost like when I was on this Lysergamide, I also had this very core truth flow through, which basically told me that none of these problems that I'm experiencing, they don't actually exist. Why? And they aren't actually something to concern myself. Like, I was like looking at maybe my context of what is sacred love, of what is this or that, or this emotion, or this conversation, or this dimension of communication. I looked at myself and I was like, there is a version of myself. There is a version of myself. Like if we understand quantum theory, we understand the infinite possibilities of who we are and everything is manifest. There is a version of myself that's already knows. It's already seen. It's already perfectly conveyed and communicated exactly what I desire to communicate in a sacred, honored way. It's like there's a version of me that already exists. I was going for my cold plunge in my run, and this is what flowed through. I was like, he exists. Like the version of me that exists, that has addressed all of these things already in a beautiful, like again, like emotionally intelligent, like sacred context. It exists. So there's really no reason to worry. There's no reason to feel like there's any anxiety or apprehension, knowing that the version of me that's already addressed and made sense of these things exists already and it is out there. Like, he's already made the decisions, he's already seen through with clarity, again, in an emotionally intelligent way, and communicated and see through all these illusions of what is causing me stress. And then here I was, I mean, just accepting that. And prior to that, I just sat in meditation for a while and was like, all right, let's just keep meditating. But so anyways, that was kind of what was flowing through. Yeah, I'm very easygoing, so you should flow pretty good. Honestly, bro, well, the fact that you're an athlete, like the fact that you are on the path to creating a channel that's focusing on your athletic endeavors, like just that already, brother, that you have my respect and that resonates with me. And I would love to have a conversation. Like, I think for me, people that are connecting, that are on the path to, unlocking the relationship with their body and training and on the path of martial forms, like that is like medicine to me, brother. Like I could talk about that all day long. So I appreciate that. And I think it'll be a great conversation, dog. I think our viewers, the viewers here would love to see what flows through. But yeah, what's up, friend? What's good, Hunter? What's good, Hunter? Hope you've been well, dog. And I hope your ukulele, your ukulele training or your ukulele practice has been going well for you, dog. Have you been experimenting? I'm curious. Do you experiment with capoing on the ukulele? Like, have you popped a capo on the ukulele? For some reason, I think I picked up a ukulele probably like a handful of times, like 3 or 4 times ever. But I think doing like harmonics and capo stuff with the ukulele would be something to be kind of cool, I think. But yeah. I'm good, Alicia. How am I doing? Always happy to see you in the feed. Hey. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you for chiming in. It's a good day to listen. It's a good day to be an observer. I'm in a similar stance where part of my intention, of trying to receive is to be as open as possible, to be in the receptive place. I mean, obviously it's my stream. I'm facilitating this, but I think that's a wise stance. Take a step back and just try to just listen in. Part of this dimension of just listening, you should only talk like a podcast. I appreciate you, Yummers. I love your support, dog. Seems that you really resonate with the vocal dimension, which I love, because every once in a while some people are like, hey brother, we're here for guitar, just play guitar, blah blah blah, guitar, which for me, I respectfully often dissuade them from being a part of this channel if they're just there to listen to guitar and not hear a human being, express their truth and talk about and connect with their viewers. The verbal dimension is very valid. It's very important. This is actually pivotal. It's all an improvised channel that connects to the music equally. The music that I create often, I've verbalized this, is an extension of the energy that I'm feeling, that the words I say, the words you guys say, it's all like a co-creation. Sometimes I'll go a little bit, I gotta navigate these G-sharp keyboard. But anyway, yeah. I'm doing decent though. Funny enough, before I did this stream, I think I talked to you guys about it. The song that I wrote, that's like very Oasis / Nirvana, Strokes, whatever type energy. I basically did a song, I did a performance of it right before I did this stream. I was like, okay, let's sing this song. But I wasn't giving a crap about writing the song or melodically trying to, perform it. I was like, but what if I'm just going to sing this song, but really mean it? Like, I was like, what if I'm just going to, sing out the lyrics, play the song, but, look, into the give eye contact, look into the camera and just, make the experience feel real. Say the words like I mean them. Don't even fixate on, what I was doing melodically or what I'm belting out or how I'm singing the song. It was what if I just focus on just feeling it, saying it like I mean it. I was having a conversation, basically it's like acting. It's if I have a conversation where it's I'm saying some lyrics, it's all jumbled up here. It's the first parts of it, it's has like all these different verses that are very emotionally contextual. And I basically just sung these words out. Where I'm basically at the start of it, I'm just like saying them in a very like monotone thing, kind of like an Oasis song. And then it picks up an energy. And the simple part of it, I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm not gonna try to write a song or make it melodic or make it any genre. I'm just gonna say these words to myself like I mean them. And it went well. I was like, yeah, this is tight as fuck. So that was cool. I think that set the tone. It gave me a good vibe. I was like, hey, like I'm feeling expressive. I'm feeling aligned with what I'm feeling. What religion am I though? I'm not religion. I'm not of religion. I mean, I read and resonate a lot with Buddhist, Zen philosophy, Taoism. I love metaphysical philosophy. I love many philosophers, but I surely do not subscribe to any particular religion. And yeah, yeah. I remember I think you've asked that, and I've answered this. But yeah. 21 Pilots play the uke. Word. Honestly, I've heard the ukulele done in such an incredible way. Like there's like a Chinese or Japanese kid. You probably know him. He's like a young kid that's blown up millions of followers and views on like Instagram or whatever. He's just a young, I think he's Japanese. He's a Japanese kid. He has a ukulele and he's just jamming out. He's like probably like 7 years old. Now he's probably like 10 or 11. But this dude has gone viral many times and he's just rocking out on the ukulele, like playing covers of whatever. But he's like a young kid and he's just like rocking the ukulele. And that was probably the first time where I was like, yeah, like I was like, I love what I see here. I'm appreciating what this young Japanese kid is bringing to this ukulele. It wasn't even what he was playing. What he was playing was technically proficient. Like he was good. But it was more so his passion, his passion. He was having such a incredible time rocking out on this ukulele. And that I really resonated with. Use really complex words. I love that. Nice. Thank you. What's good, Christian? What's good, Christian Colombo? I mean, sure, yeah. I don't try. That's the thing is I don't try to use complex words. I'll be honest. Like I kind of have a funny relationship with words. Where if you see me in the real world, I mean, it's obviously very synonymous to how I'm here. Is like sometimes I'll be like articulating with words, in a like very like linguistic way. Like I'll use the full depth of my vocabulary, and I'll just be like blah 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 blah. But sometimes I love to just default into talking like if I'm like 16 years old, like I'll use slang and just not give a fuck. Like I'll be like blah 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 in a different direction, and yeah, I think words are beautiful. Like words are meant to be expressive, right? They're not meant to be taken as like literal fact where it's like but words are all that is and my words versus your words. It's never been that way. Like words are supposed to be a creative exploration. And fortunately, I mean, all I know is the English language. I would love to study a bit of Japanese, Spanish, whatever, but I've known the English language, my entire life. 31, done lots of English stuff, and I love language. I really love language. I love communicating. Like it's, as I've been a streamer the last like 7, 8 months, I've realized how much I really, really love like unpackaging this domain of communicating. Like it's not even about just language, it's about comprehension and communication, which obviously isn't just about words. Like, the part of that's is great is I speak with my hands, I speak with oh, that's where we want to go. With music, you can communicate in so many ways. Yo, what's good, gang? What's good, Temple? Well, let's go back to where do you think I should go with my channel? Right now, I'm planning on purchasing some instruments, and the channel will be about different instruments. Right. Interesting. Yeah, that's good questions, Hunter. Good questions. Strange enough, I mean, it may be clear if you've checked out my long format content. Shameless self-promotion, yeah. But now, if you checked out my long format content, I created a video that's actually beautifully illustrated the direction that I'm going to go in my channel, which strangely enough, if you're new to this channel, you may not see. When I started this channel, when I was like, a month in, half a month in, I created content where I remixed movie scores, video game scores. Maybe I take energy from like the Mayan pyramids or from the Japanese Azuna River. I would basically create meditative sound journeys and I would theme them to certain things, energies. Like I would draw energy from whatever it is. Like, I'd take anything and be like, bang, I'm going to create a meditative sound journey. And what I realized, and this is what I was leaning towards actually before I transitioned to streaming and doing the content I do now, I realized that I like teaching people guitar. This is a thing I was also doing is I'll break down guitar riffs, I'll be like, this is this riff, and then I'll explain exactly what I did. What I realized, I can bridge those worlds. I can be like, I was like, wouldn't an intelligent approach on creating content be teaching people guitar, but with a creative twist? I'm like, okay, we're gonna teach you this riff. Like that, I could break down all of what I just did there, it's like I explain every little part. But what if I make it creative, where like the first 20 seconds of the video is like this powerful, performance where it's like I have pan flutes flowing through, I have, visuals of some sort of place that's inspired me. Maybe it's a place around the world, maybe it's a movie scene, maybe it's an atmosphere from a video game, and then I break down the riff that I just improvised. So I'm basically teaching people how to, break down riffs, which people universally seem to really love. Like it's like people want to learn guitar in a palatable way. And it's interesting how I can basically use different creative dynamics to create like a dynamic, like sort of movie project, almost like a little mini movie project that lets people feel like they're getting an experience, and then I break down a riff. So basically, that's what I experimented with. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, feel free to check it out, or don't. But we're trying to. Let's see if I go to my thing. I don't think I have many views. Yeah, I got like 4 views. Very nice. I might have to change the thumbnail, maybe play around a little bit, but with the title. But the idea is that I'm leaning into a style of content where I'm returning to my roots. I'm teaching guitar, but I'm also using different themes around the world or from different movie scenes. And I'm going to basically creatively create riffs that are inspired from these themes and then use that to teach guitar. So I don't know, that's a thing I think I could go very deep in. But I don't know, for you, Hunter, like, I would say, brother, all I can say is like, look at what you've done historically that's worked. Like here, this is the advice that I've kind of just unpackaged myself and applied is look at what you've historically already done that's worked. Even if it was before you created your channel, look at what you've done that has been received by an audience at all. Like the things you've done that has worked, that has resonated, and see now how you can innovate off of that. And even further, see how you can innovate off of that, but maybe do something that is pertaining to what succeeds in long format YouTube. And what that is masterful creative thumbnails, masterful creative titles, and masterful creative hooks in the first 20, 30 seconds. Those 3 things, this is what I was basically unpackaging, telling myself. It's like, if you can make your first 30, 40 seconds like a masterpiece, like a movie almost, so dynamic, so interesting, so intriguing, and you make a good thumbnail that looks beautiful and is visually stunning, and you have a title that's like beautiful and draws people in. I haven't succeeded in that full-fledged yet, but that's the thing, that if you can apply that and look at what your audience has connected with, what has worked, like what have you done in your YouTube that you're like, what, this worked, like, and really return to that and see how you can elaborate off of that. That's basically what I just did. I realized yesterday, and that could work for you, brother. But I think you're on the right path. Like more instruments, whatever gives you joy, whatever makes you feel creative and experimental, can't go wrong with that. Can I play Only Smile by Periphery? I cannot. I do not know how to perform Only Smile by Periphery. I gotta say though, I think Periphery is dope as fuck. I love Periphery. If I could choose only one, which would it be? If I could choose only one what? Like one religion, you're saying? Because that's, I don't know, brother. You should have been in the 60s era. You could have hippie energy, not the way was not around in the 60s. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, I gotta say, I've thought this through very thoroughly. For many years, I always wanted to be around in the 70s and 80s. Like, I was like, whoa, I would have loved to be alive in the 70s and 80s. And still true, to many degrees. But I think it's an extraordinary blessing to be alive, like, as I am right now. Like, in 2026, the avatar that I am, the whatever I'm doing with my life, it is a powerful, powerful time to be alive. Like if you really look at it, you're like objectively like, oh word, content creator peak, societal collapse, phone addiction, programming, new genres of dance and new dimensions of dance and movement practice and consciousness revolutions. Like we're in a really exciting time. Like if you really look closely, yes, the 60s, 70s, and 80s, they rocked. Like they were dope as fuck. But I think this time we're in right now, if you're really like present, you're really paying attention, extremely exciting times. Like invariably. But yeah. Oh, oh. It takes so much focus, but also so much like relaxation and letting go to do this prop successfully. Truly, it's like you got to be like focused, but also like loose and disconnected. It's very, very unique. Let's return to my stream space on the computer and see if we can type in a creative, because this is something I'm experimenting with. I don't know how this will flow. This actually makes it easier to talk to you guys because I can read the comments here on a larger screen. It is like an art form. It's like an art form. Play Bumblebee, Flight of Bumblebee. Never heard of that in my life. Can't say I know how to perform that. And good vibes to you too, Floyd. I got you, brother. Jammed Artistry, House of Gold. Yeah, bro, I loved 21 Pilots. 21 Pilots, they really do something special. Hello, Ashay, looking mysterious and awesome vibes as always. Thank you, Rain. I'm feeling mysterious. Feeling mysterious. Or just like, what's it called? It's like on the movie American Sniper. Feeling dangerous. Kyle's feeling dangerous. I don't know. It's good, awesome to do global meditation together. It would be awesome to do global. I agree. I agree. I like where your mind's at, Temple. I have to say, you've inspired me. I still don't know how to unpackage it. I still am on a place where I'm like, how can I lean into introducing like a genuine, authentic meditation practice that is expanding outwards. Like I know I can get there. I know I can get there. But I've been thinking a lot about that of like how can I bridge those worlds of now introducing my extensive meditation practice that is focusing on just being, nowhere to be, nothing to do, and then letting this become a portal that somehow bridges worlds into the larger, ethos. And I think you're doing great, brother. I don't know if we're talking I would love to like I extended this to Genius or number 5 Fitness, I believe it was his second channel. But I would love to if you have like WhatsApp or Zoom or something, probably Zoom is probably best. I'm not sure how WhatsApp really works, but if you have Zoom Lion, I would love to get your contact, brother, because I would love to just like have a conversation, like be it if we want to like voice notes or just like have a video conversation to kind of just like talk more about how we can collaborate, like do some sort of thing, like because I think this is how I want to carry forward is, I feel deeply appreciative for those that want to collaborate. Like I've had a random allotment of like several people at least that I feel like I would love to truly pull those threads, learn more about, connect with more, and do some sort of collaboration. And I feel like moving forward, I would like to just get each other's Zoom or whatever and do some sort of Zoom call. Like find a time that aligns so we can just have a candid conversation. And if we want to talk about doing some sort of like meditation thing, yeah. Let's do it, brother. I think, I'll be honest, I think I have to make a Zoom. I think I have to make a Zoom. I may have made a Zoom many years ago. But let me see here. Let me see if I still have a Zoom account. I'll log it in. But I'll definitely just start to, yeah. Wrong email, passwords. Maybe forgot password. But absolutely, I think doing a Zoom, like doing a little Zoom one-on-one to just like orient and brief and just talk about what we would love to do, like whether it's like, some sort of like instilling of a guided meditation or doing some music collab. I think that'd be a very organic way to go about it. Let's see. Subject, Zoom verification. I won't take up too much time trying to do this little Zoom. There we go. Oh, reset password. All right. Because I know for me too, I'm in a place where as I've been very verbal, I love I love the potential and the possibilities of expanding. Sign into Zoom. There we go. I think we did it. But it's like I also am in a place where I'm juggling a lot, and I want to like honor the sacred process of how I unravel. We take an unusual login for my desk. What? I don't know. We'll figure this out later. But the idea is, yeah, I think there's a very process of being like, you know what? There's definitely a way to make steps forward in the right direction of just like, learning to set the tone to crystallizing the intention on collaborations like music, YouTube, this, that. I think it's a thing I feel like ready to take an action phase within. Yeah. Psychodoc, it's like an art form. Yeah. I think you're referring to, yeah, content creation or something or music or because yeah, it'd be awesome to do global meditation. Global meditation would be beautiful. Probably heard about the studies of big sync meditations. Yeah, brother, I think you're referring to, I know Joe Dispenza, he does that a lot, and I'm sure there's many other spiritual practitioners that do that exact thing. Is like we can truly heal on such a vast level just by simply meditating, like with that collective intention. I don't know, that's a cool thing to explore. Been a huge one in Thailand recently. Wow, I gotta say, that just makes me love Thailand. Makes me love Thailand even more. Like, gotta say, shout out Thailand. I found the more I've been understanding and thinking about Thailand, I'm think Thailand is probably they're moving up my list. Like, I think Australia and Thailand are sort of on par with the first place that I want to go to. I don't know though. We'll see how it plays out. What's good, Mayor? What's good, me, our Mayor? 3037. Hopefully 570 views will happen again. Nice. Yeah, bro, it's exactly like that, Floyd. Momentum. Like it's literally just momentum, um, having creative stream dynamics, like being in a place where you're just like creating something where you're feeling like, you genuinely desire to create something cool and novel in your stream. And yeah, momentum, like momentum, momentum, momentum. It's like, I even stopped streaming for like a day and I found, thank you, Arbitrary, obituary. And it's like I stopped streaming for like a day, and like really it was like I didn't focus it for like a day or two, which is like nothing, truthfully. But I noticed myself kind of be like, this is slowly teetering. But I also was consciously recalibrating, so I was okay with being like, all right, I'm losing like a couple hundred views or something. In relation to the large picture, it means nothing. Like I've fortunately hit the metric that I've desired to hit. I know that I'm like 6, 7, 8 days, or probably about 9, 10 days away from full monetization, which is great. It's like I don't think I'm in the desire or have the desire to just grind out streams at this point, but I will, but out of pure, organic desire. For me, when I saw it was about consistency and quantity. For me, I saw it was about consistency. Yeah, I swear, it's about consistency and quantity and quality of quantity, etc. But I think too, there's something to streaming that has to do with like, we'll call it curb appeal. Like whatever that is, whatever that looks like, I don't really know. Truthfully, I don't know what curb appeal means to you. To me, it's a universal scale, but it seems that streams seem to fare well with like curb appeal. It's like if you have a interesting, I don't know, like leading quote or header or dynamic of whatever's going on, that's not even like, it doesn't have to be appealing on a vast scale, but if it's appealing to you and you're like, oh, this is something weird and different that's very human, it seems to fare pretty well. Like if you can lock in on some sort of curb appeal, whatever that looks like, I've noticed that translates. Ashe, you are a breath of fresh air. Very funny too. Take care, brother. Thank you, Rain. I mean, I'm not really trying to be funny, at least not right now, but I appreciate that, brother. I mean, I appreciate humor. Like wit and humor is like, truthfully, I think it's like one of the most transformative forces in this world. Like if you can truly learn to embrace and really like, it's like a sacred journey, truthfully, of learning to honor your own ability to make yourself laugh. Like, I mean, it really is. It's like you're in a place where you're just like, if you can make yourself laugh, you can find joy in the things that maybe try to elicit or evoke some sort of adverse reaction. If you can just laugh and be like, fuck, like no fucks in a beautiful way, you're on a sacred path, like invariably. If you can just laugh at the things that maybe might be experienced or perceived as some sort of turmoil thing. Now, part of it, this isn't just like laugh at everything in a disassociative way, but it's like you gotta really like connect. You gotta like honor your ability to find joy and humor in things and have that reflected back to you. You know, part of what I love about my current partner is she's fucking hilarious. Like she is hilarious. From like the first moments of like engaging with her, like meeting her like 4 months back or whatever, very funny human being. And weirdly enough, she brings out like the natural trickster um humor, whatever. And it brings out like the almost like the comedian in me when we're with each other all the time. It just without even trying. It's like we're in a place which is so beautiful and so natural and raw. It's like when you can just have a portal and it flows through in these streams sometimes where it's like sometimes if I'm just like, high on neurochemicals or cold plunges or whatever, and I'm just saying nonsense, it's because my brain is switched on that like trickster mentality where I'm like, haha, like nothing matters. And it's just like, it's great. But yeah. Oh, heck. I think you got banned for a good reason, brother. Yeah. It's okay, brother. We're all for honoring and everyone's humanity. Like, you're allowed to the banning thing, the 24-hour lockout or comment removal. I want to make it very clear. Like I do make this clear often when people, do stuff that's outlandish. I'm not doing this to be it's not like a personal attack. I mean, sometimes a person's like doing hate speech or being like, a disintegral piece of garbage. Maybe it is a little bit of a true strike on them, on their character. But the reality is most of you guys, like if you're getting filtered or you lose your comment rights, I want you to let you know this is about me managing a community portal, right? This is me managing a vast community portal. And in that space, I have to be very strong with setting boundaries. So, I hope, I do remember vividly, I think Redbeard, I don't even remember the context, but I remember it was justified. It was justified, brother. Like removing your comment rights was justified. And yeah, with that, I hope, again, I appreciate you being here, brother. Thank you, Obituary. I honestly only just instilled whatever this is, the jewels and the flowers. Like I don't even know what these gifts are, how they translate, but they're cool. Like I just enabled them yesterday, so thank you. Yeah, we got gifts. Thank you, Obituary. We'll slowly move it through here. But yeah, for Temple Lion, let me send you my.
What time are you planning on streaming until?
I don't know, at least another 45 minutes.
Okay, I just need to. I'm working with a client at 3:30.
Shouldn't be an issue, yeah.
Yeah, we wrapped up by then.
I can go elsewhere with out of your way in that point. Let me see how I can do that.
Or just a heads up, you can't be loud either. If you're doing stuff out of order.
All right, well, I'm still on the stream right now, but thanks. Yeah. How do I do that? See, I'll figure out the Zoom stuff. Yeah, I'll figure out the Zoom stuff. Yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing to conceptualize of being like Zoom links, have some beautiful formal, just brief conversations. Just connect and do some cool stuff. But yeah, I appreciate you, Obituary, though. Let me shout outs. Shout out Obituary. Yeah, just scaling in G sharp. Sounds so beautiful. Yeah. Interesting. The gifts give you money. Yeah, I see. So it's like, that's pretty cool. I had a feeling it's like that because I thought it's like I can see a similar system. So Thank you for the flowers and the gifts. Like, I appreciate that, brother. That was a improvised tune flowing through from the energy of gratitude. But yeah, started watching you because I love your hat and your style, and then I heard the guitar. I fell in love with it. Thank you, brother. See, that's kind of what I was saying. I'm like, this hat, I surely did not purchase. Like, I purchased this hat because I've always wanted a hat. Like, I've wanted to design a hat, and I was fortunate enough to find an Etsy creator who's super dope, who worked with me every step of the way, and she's a phenomenal human being. And I created this super dope hat. So the hat is just the thing I wear all the time, every day, pretty much. Like, maybe when I'm training or when the moment is I want less hat stuff, but it for some reason, kind of like I was saying to Floyd earlier, to Hunter, is like it has curb appeal. Like, I don't know, I didn't intend for this hat to be like, a part of this signature thing, but it just became that way. I embraced it. I was like, word, we're bringing back hats. We love hats. And I gotta say, I love the hat. I rock it. I honor it. But it's got curb appeal, where it's like, a person could be looking on a stream or floating through streams like, oh, it's a dude with a jacket and a hat. Maybe he's a musician. Maybe he's doing something cool. Who knows? And it's got some weird kind of curb appeal. I didn't intend it to be this way, but it's just how it is. It happens to play out beautifully. As a streamer, it's the same in the real world. When people see me in the real world, they're like, "Who is this guy?" Whoa, like they're just like they're curious. It strikes curiosity, and then of course the whole essence of whatever's going on, in my energy is kind of usually the extending factor. Yeah, yeah. Please be conscious, brother. It's not about like I want to make this clear to Redbeard. I kind of articulated. You will get your comments revoked. Like, it will happen if you are, just filling the comments with things that are not aligned or resonant with the values of this channel. This isn't like me being like, hey, brother, like, what you've done is wrong, like, shame, blah, blah. No, it's like, you got to realize I'm trying to manage your channel. We're going to do what's best for the channel no matter what. No individuals, personal stance on what they think their words mean or how it's aligning with this channel really matters, respectfully. It's like, so if you're gonna, kind of fill this channel with the words or things that just do not align, it's like you're like spamming the chat, so to speak. Not even just spamming with like extensive messages. You're not adding truly to the comments. Not saying everyone has to be in that definition, but if it's like, outwardly egregious that you're just like, you're not using self-awareness or practicing self-awareness in the way you're commenting, then yeah, that's unfortunately, brother, that is going to have your comment rights revoked. And that's just the way it is. Like, we're managing thousands of people that flow through typically in the next hour or two. So I got to be really discerning. And it's, again, I say this with respect, and I appreciate you, desiring to be part of this space. And honestly, dog, it's cool. Anyways, you can cash it out once you're fully monetized. Nice. Sent flowers. That's awesome. Yeah. Peace out, Rain. If you're still here, peace. Send a Sunday. Nice. I'm getting Sundays. I gotta say, I haven't eaten a Sunday in like 10 years. But I fuck with Sundays. This is my song for, I don't know, for Sundays. Wow, this is a beautiful song, I gotta say. I think I'm gonna record this right now. Let's hit the button, go right into a recording. See if we can do something with this. Made a mistake in there, but that's okay. Something in that. Something there. Something there. Wow, I'm super behind on the comment section on my phone here. So I love that you have another hat in the background. Yeah, that was the first hat, brother. That was the initiator. That hat's even larger. That's like a true top hat. Beautiful hat, though. Like, this baby, this is a top hat that I bought at a Tremblant Music Festival. This one's trippy as fuck. Like, you can see, this one's like masterfully designed. Like, all this trippy geometry. This is a good one. It's a little bit large, I'll be honest. Like this one's even like, it's like massive. I like the brim on this one though. This one's like, yeah, but this one's like a huge, like true top hat. It's like top hat, top hat. Like it's supposed to be like a mysterious kind of like acid character. I only usually wear this when I'm at a music festival, or I would wear it often when I'm on like LSD or something. Super fun hat though. But this one I think is a lot more appropriate to, you know, wearing every day, wearing casually. It's just like it's a great dynamic. Yeah. So I cannot notice how 2/3 of YouTube live streams are religious based. Is that just me? I don't know, Andrea. I don't know. That's kind of blows. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, the sad reality is not even the sad reality, but the reality is a lot of religious ideologies, for whatever reason, you know, they're hijacking people's attention for the better and for the worse. And it's not like I'm not throwing salt at them. Again, maybe in some regards, in the real world, we can unpackage that. But in the simplest right, diverting from that, I personally take it upon myself to, yeah, to not advocate religious ideology, political ideologies, just for the simple fact it's a music channel. Like no other forethought. It's like no hate thrown at those people that choose to exercise and express their beliefs about that. But the religious ideologies, yeah, I think they do, if we're going to objectively communicate, I think a part of what might be present there is they are trying to use like shock value. You know, they're trying to use like almost like without with deviating from the model of what we'd say is defines religious ideologies, they're using moral philosophy in a um, projective, triggering way. Like this is what I think. Again, this is just my riffing, sort of intuitive understanding. Is they're using moral philosophy, or no, they're weaponizing. That's what they're doing. Is they're weaponizing moral philosophy, if we will. Weaponizing is a very potent word. I actually used it in the song I wrote recently. It's a great word. But the idea is, I have to say, they are either successfully or unsuccessfully, or ethically or unethically, weaponizing moral philosophy. Like that's what they're often doing. Not all of them, but that's what I noticed they're doing. Is they're weaponizing it. They're being like, oh, but are you this? Are you that? Oh, but if you're not this, let's shame you here. Let's shame you there. But oh, but what about this word? Let's use this word to trigger this and load this. Like they're like, it's like they're juggling loaded guns, weaponizing all these moral philosophical arguments that most people, for whatever reason, they don't have the successful level of critical thinking and discernment to see through the weaponized things. Like they get triggered, they're like, oh damn, like there's got to be something going on here, even if they don't understand it. But I digress. We're not here to talk about that. But I think it makes a lot of sense. Like whether we're talking about political, religious ideologies, those are the ones that I basically throw out as like misnomers, as caveats, and being like, we're not going to discuss those respectfully. But weirdly enough, while I'm like way behind my stream on my computer, let me put it with my hat. But those dimensions of what I just underlined actually are perfect examples of parties or communities that often like to weaponize these dimensions of moral arguments, like moral philosophy arguments. And obviously this happens everywhere. This isn't just about, this happens in every governing culture, every dominating culture, every political, religious agenda, blah, blah, blah. And in very ways, they're weaponizing moral philosophy and ethical philosophy. Like they're weaponizing it. They're being like, all right, so let's throw it this way and make it evoke some sort of reaction. Like they're trying to shoot it at you and make you feel like you should, you know, have to defend yourself, which is not the way. I gotta say, like, in an objective stance, deviating from talking about all those subjects, that's not the way. You know, people shouldn't be weaponizing their beliefs or their moral philosophies or philosophy as a whole. That's why I love, you know, Taoism. That's why I love Zen philosophy. That's why I love the ancient Tibetan Buddhists. And I love all these beautiful cultures that are a lot from Eastern cultures that actually don't do that. You know, they're not seeing like, hey, subscribe to our ideology or our dogmatization, like subscribe to it or XYZ. It's like they're like, here are some core truths. Explore this if you desire. Let it align with your path or not. You know, but yeah. Many scholars were religious. Yeah. That people that brought mathematics and algebra were religious. Yeah. 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 I mean, that's a neutral statement, brother. To McCree. Cool name. That's a neutral statement that, yeah, brother, they do this, but that's not necessarily a good thing. Now, of course, I'm not going to denote that yes, people find incredible truths historically. People have successfully integrated and found beautiful wisdom from, of course, religions. Like, I'm not going to sit there and demerit it. That's never what I'm desiring to do. But if I were to be very forthcoming, what we're underlining, like what you may be underlining, maybe you're conscious of it or not, is this is the connection I like to make, is a lot of these models or these society systems, they are oriented from um, what is known as like the pragmatic model. You know, William James in the ancient or like 1800s, I believe. I don't even know. I probably got that wrong. But William James, you know, the pioneer of psychology, brilliant philosopher, he was a foundational element of modern psychology and his idea of pragmatism, that is honoring that which is pragmatic, like we're creating and focusing on things that are conventional, that are pragmatic, that are convenient in a sense. That is how a lot of our modern systems developed. Like that's just the nature of how they did. Modern law, modern mathematics, modern science, all these different modern societal systems have developed off a pragmatic model of being like, but what is pragmatic? What is convenient? What is conventional? In the sense of like, is this something that we can conveniently apply as a convenience? Doesn't mean it's true. Doesn't mean it actually has even a deeper rooting. It just means society, humans, we as a society chose, like, you know what? Let's apply this model to make it more convenient, usually, if not always, for the bottom line of, well, you know, accumulating resources or establishing a society that focuses on monetary and material growth and gain. It's literally just like the bottom line. It's like, oh, so is this convenient to help us, you know, evolve? Maybe the scientists or the sciences or the mathematic realms or the law institutions, how we can build these models in the most convenient way. It was never about, oh, can we do these in the most integral and intelligent and self-aware way that really benefits society as a large and long picture? No, it was like, how can we build this off of practicality so we can accumulate resource and, you know, crystallize the materialistic model that we live in? So yeah, it's like I think a lot of those same realms, you know, it's like these people, scholars, intellectuals, you know, philosophers that maybe took pages out of religious ideologies, they were still often, I'm not saying all of them because I don't know the entirety, they were constructing a system that was aligned with a model of convention. How can we develop models and systems, mathematics, law, all these larger systems of hierarchy and models of how our society and our modern society operates? It was trying to operate out of what is practical, what is pragmatic. It's not of what was better. It's not of what was going to evolve society and humanity on a larger scale. It was what at the time is truly allowing us to advance and evolve to attain a more materialistic um, attainment. It's really weird. It's very weird. I had a situation in my channel. I made a mistake out of stress. I banned one of my channel's highest donors for discussing religion. Interesting. Well, I mean, I'd say with that, I wouldn't stress about that, Floyd or Hunter. See, Salad, I wish you would change my name or change your name, mostly for your own sake. Salad Fingers. You're not a fan of salads? Do salad fingers have some strange double meaning that I'm not familiar with? So what do I think about becoming monetized on TikTok? I think going backwards here to Hunter, do it up, dog. Whatever floats your boat or floats your goat. Personally, I'm a Canadian. I cannot attain monetization via views. I can't make money off of views on TikTok. So yeah, no thanks, TikTok. Basically, there's a massive revenue on TikTok that I cannot make as a Canadian. So I do not support TikTok. I mean, I don't support TikTok for many reasons there. It's a weird platform, let's be real here. I don't want to create too many limiting beliefs because I'll probably blow up a TikTok at some point. Like I have a friend who's a massive TikToker and she wants to collaborate and grow my channel and my brand, but immediately I've been very detracted from TikTok. But if you can, you're American, I believe. I'm pretty sure you are. You can make money off views. So yes, brother, focus TikTok, get those TikTok views, make that money, brother. Do it up. I mean, I think TikTok again on a platform level, like if I'm being perfectly blatantly honest, we got YouTube, we have TikTok. they're two polar forces in the simplest right. If you observe what's going on TikTok and YouTube, they're very different entities, if not polar flips of each other. And basically, TikTok has very different uh, points of intrigue. You know, what's going to succeed on TikTok is going to be very obscure and different from what's going to succeed on YouTube, and vice versa. And I'll be perfectly honest, I think succeeding on YouTube is a far better feat for the long term, for your brand, for your business, for sponsorship deals. Like, there's a lot more, I think, if you really successfully root yourself in YouTube. But I wouldn't say TikTok, if you can succeed in it, you're American, go nuts. I think that's a good idea. Can't notice that 2/3 of YouTube streams religious. That we going backwards. Many scholars, yeah. Yeah, that's bizarre though, Hunter. I don't know what to tell you, dog. I mean, the simplest way, if you ban someone who is your highest gifter or whatever, grifter, for one, you, or not grifter, but the idea is, you may have to ask yourself, why was he actually giving you gifts? Like, was he gifting because he wanted to try to like promote his religious ideologies? And if that was the case, and that goes against your channel, then there's nothing. You haven't lost anything. Like, you know, because whatever metric, when you're at this phase of your YouTube journey, you should not desire to get monetary gains. Like that, at least that should not dictate how you make decisions about your channel. I mean, that being said, use your best judgment. If you know, want to unban the guy, or I don't know, maybe he doesn't, I don't know how it operates, but in my mind, if people go against my guidelines or the values of my channel, I'm not going to think twice. Like, I'm not going to think twice about banning. It doesn't matter if they gave me $1,000. I mean, that's an insane thing to give someone. Probably there's some sort of agenda behind it. But anyway, it's like, if I don't give a crap about, if people dishonor the guidelines of my, or the values of my channel, or they just don't align with the values of the channel, I'm not gonna think twice about removing from the channel. You know, it's a respectful thing of managing the entirety of my channel. It's nothing can change that. Not them donating money, not them wanting to do this, that, and promote it. It's like, you got to be objective. You got to honor your brand. You got to honor your channel as a whole, I would say. Sometimes religious replaces exploration of self-discovery. Instead of saying, how do I feel about this? They might say, what does the book say? I would say, yeah. I would say that's valid, dog. And I agree. It was a mistake because there was some chaos and stress. The realities of religious talk is allowed on my channel as long as people aren't arguing with each other. Yeah? Let's go. Bopping into my headphone jack here. Floyd, what's your channel about? Which part of Canada? Yeah, British Columbia, psych doc. Corporal Turnage appreciated your shout out the other week. Thank you for the positive energy. Oh, nice. Yeah. Appreciate you, Corporal. Keep up the good work. Keep up. I don't think I can salute because I'm not a soldier, but keep up the good work. Yeah, what's my favorite John Mayer song? Definitely is Neon. Definitely Neon. There's another one. What's it called? I think it's something like Sensual. Like, what is it? I don't listen to actually much John Mayer, but I have to say I respect John Mayer a lot as a musician. But Neon is like one of the best songs I've ever heard, truthfully. Was it Free Falling, maybe? No, not Free Falling. There's one about, so Neon, Big W, shout out John Mayer. Maybe it's Slow Dancing? No, Slow Dancing. He has another song. I don't know what song it is, but John Mayer has another song that I listened to like a little while back, and I was like, damn, like this is genius. Not all of John Mayer's is like my kind of thing. Some of it's more pop oriented. He's doing his thing, so I respect him. But yeah, Neon is like a banger, I have to say. Like he, yeah. Husband is from BC. Love that place. Oh wow, there you go. There you go. That's beautiful, psych. Yeah, BC is beautiful. It's got a lot of beautiful human beings. Like I can confirm this. It's like I think it's a very BC is a very strong example.
Sorry, I actually have my mic at 3:15,
I'm kind of in the middle of this, dude.
okay, well, in all honesty, just need to wrap up in 3 minutes.
Okay. Let's do a thing. Is it raining out there? Yeah, kind of. So I've gotten news that apparently. Let's see. How about Eric Johnson, instrumental Cliffs of Dover masterpiece? Yeah, but I think in BC it's interesting now. It's like an epicenter for cultural diversity. Like, that's what I've noticed. It's like, for whatever reason, you know, for the better and for the worse, it seems there's a lot of people that all different varieties kind of are drawn there. So you kind of get a very unbiased mix of different orientations, which I love. You know, I love different cultures. So it always like makes me happy to see the diversity, you know, some Asian cultures or Indian cultures or European cultures of sorts. Lightly raining. Well, really, being outside, it's unfortunately raining, or else I'd go for a walk or whatever, but I don't think being outside, well, no, I can't because it's raining. I can't get rained on, but it's not loud, though. Well, I can't just exit my stream when in the middle of, like, big moments.
Windows to do what you need to do. This is just one of the ones you don't have. Sorry.
The outdoors, the outside world. Yikes. Yeah, what type of philosophy do I resonate with the most? Typically, Zen and Taoist philosophy, like Zen Buddhism, Taoist philosophy is something that I really deeply connect with. Yeah, but to the unfortunate avail, I guess, the twin roommate is feeling entitled and is trying to, basically he needs to use this space to do a client thing, and he's getting very fixated and finicky about noise, which, honestly, oh, scarf, yeah. It's it's nice, it's warm, it's warmer. It's been kind of colder, but yeah. I remember I saw Shay a long time ago, back when his channel was smaller than mine. I thought he was an awesome dude. Yeah. Thank you, brother. Yeah, no, I mean, I think, in general,
This isn't gonna work.
dude, there's noises that are
Hour
out
long,
here
like,
louder
it's
than,
an hour long, and you're gonna be
yeah.
loud enough where it's gonna disrupt the session. So this is not every single.
Yikes. Aye. Sorry, friends. Yeah, basically, my twin wanted to get some things off his chest that he just had the desire to kind of express in a very emotionally unregulated way. Yeah. It's unfortunate. Like, I was very happy with holding space for this, but then it just kind of unraveled into a very, very emotionally charged conversation that, I don't know. Appreciate you, brother. Oh, it looked like it stopped raining. All right. So we're about to head on a walk into the forest of Westwood. Whoops. Man. Lot to sit with, I'd say. It's been interesting. I've spoken about the nature of, what's been flowing through recently with my own sort of training, my own sort of meditative practice. Just being present with, I think, the things that... There we go. It's disconnects, reconnects. But thank you for being here, friends. I mean, I must say, I apologize, it's kind of unprofessional. I mean, I don't know, professionality is not really the deciding factor in the YouTube realm. Just kind of disconnect the stream for a good 5-10 minutes. But I guess long story short, my twin brother, who's my roommate, he desired to express some issues with boundaries, and he needed to, like, basically he does a counseling practice, and throughout the last months he's requested to have certain windows open, which I've been completely honoring in every right, but I guess he's been extending that sort of almost like within a level of entitlement that was a little bit troubling, and I guess he seemed to have a lot of emotions he was unpackaging. But obviously, for respect for him and his own, emotional integration, we'll just leave that at that. But very bizarre. Basically, long story short, midstream, he was expressing his frustration. Then it kind of escalated to a place where he started, out of nowhere, basically he started weaponizing a lot of his feelings. Like, he was saying things that was coming from a very emotionally distressed place. And honestly, this is, he's my twin brother. Obviously, I understand his mentality. I want to empathize and hold space for what he's going through. But it felt, very much like a situation that required almost like more time to process. Like, it seemed like he, in the simplest right, wasn't actually fully ready to emotionally regulate himself. And again, that seemed to just translate in a place where he was like weaponizing all these perspectives, saying all these things that for whatever reason were coming up. And I don't know, hopefully it was a moment of clarity for him. Like, he was able to have these emotions come to the surface, voice things they maybe needed to voice, and we can have an emotionally intelligent conversation in the future about it, which is where we kind of left off about it. But I don't know, very unfortunate. I think the stream paused. Sounds very nice. Yeah, I'm okay. I'll be honest, kind of like I just expressed. Like, my brother, he's my twin brother. He does what he sometimes does is he was leading with his emotions. Like, he was very, very much coming from like a disgruntled, place where he had things he was processing, and he was basically weaponizing it. Like, he was directing it towards me, like saying, like, I don't know, things about projections of negative things, or about things like maybe relating to, basically it's almost like unconsciously he was expressing some level of almost like resentment, maybe even jealousy of the way that things in my life have unraveled. Like, without being like specific, it's like, it's almost like he on some level was in packaging a lot of negative emotions that he was seeing in a very dense place, without trying to respect his emotional constitution, his privacy, his integrity. It's like, I could see very clearly, it's basically what I was seeing was, my brother seems that he wasn't seeing anything with clarity. He was just like drowning in his own distortions of like negative distortions of this thing and negative distortions of this perspective. Like, I looked at it as clear as day. I was just like, and I said this with a very, healthy, sort of firm perspective. I was like, do you actually believe, really, do you believe anything you're saying is actually coming from like a healthy, rooted, composed and healthy place? And, this isn't complex, right? When people maybe are emotionally charged, or they've experienced, lower vibrational emotions, if we're going to call it that, they're just drowning in negative emotions. They can't see with clarity. Like, they can't see the larger picture of what's actually unraveling and operating. And I think, unfortunately, I don't know, my brother was a victim of this. Or not even a victim, a product. It's like he was giving weight to these negative distortions. Like, he was giving weight to the negative emotions and things that wasn't allowing him to actually see clearly the picture. And he was, projecting these onto me, which he unfortunately sometimes does. Like, not to throw salt, or it's just, it is what it is. Like, he's my brother, and sometimes that's kind of the only place that he feels he needs to direct it to. I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is I am okay, but it was very off-putting. Like, I'm in the middle of a stream, feeling very happy to be present, feeling very grateful. And then to see all these lower vibrational emotions, like, without saying it, like, to make it very esoteric, it was literally just like he was suppressing or operating out of these emotional perspectives, like out of resentment, out of almost like out of fear, out of frustration, anger, like all these things that had nothing to do with any of the things he was trying to communicate or articulate. Like, I swear, it's like the core thing I remember just expressing over and over. I was like, you're not actually seeing any of these things with clarity. Like, do you even realize that the mass majority of what is being expressed is not actually looking at the large picture through a lens of clarity? And this was clear. This wasn't like ambiguous or obscure. I could see that it was him very much projecting a lot I didn't take it personal, but it was a lot to sort of sit with and be like, wow, I'm in the middle of a stream. I'm doing like something that really means a lot to me. It's like a sacred thing to me. And to see someone that's almost like in some right desecrated that and extending it over to me, it felt unfortunate. I was like, you know what, this is his wound directly trying to almost attack and trigger my wound. And fortunately, I've been in a place lately with my romantic relationships, with my own sort of spiritual healing, and just in general, I feel very grateful for life. Like, I don't think my brother has any idea on what's going on in my life, like, for the better. And it is what it is, because he's his own entity. But c'est la vie. Anyways, thank you for being here. We are back. We decided to make the executive decision just to go on a walk in the forest. You know, it's raining a little bit here, but I feel the move is, you know, often when it's raining, I like to sit in inside space, you know, just do some music, kind of hold space for the stream. But I think this is actually a unique opportunity just to go, you know, in this kind of open atmosphere and just play pan flute. You know, pan flute's very waterproof. I can confidently say it's one of the few instruments that I don't have to concern myself if it's, you know, going to get damaged by the water, because it's just bamboo. No, but I feel good. Honestly, taking a step away just to be out of my brother's energy and, you know, give him maybe some time to compose himself. And as we are, you know, I just think it's great to kind of reflect as I already feel. You know, I feel like there's a lot flowing through that is just him simply for some reason expressing, or again projecting, his inability to see with a clear lens right now. Like, for whatever reason, I don't know exactly, could be a multitude of things. He's operating at a place that doesn't seem to actually have clarity. And it's unfortunate, because I hope he finds that. Like, my brother is an extension of me. He's a mirror of me. You know, I see so much in him that is in me, and I can see through a lot of these things without, you know, I don't know the entirety of who he is, but yeah, I hope he finds clarity. I hope he finds clarity, because clarity it's surely been a clear core theme in my life. Like, you know, I've been very honest, where this last week has been challenging. You know, I've had to deal with being sick and integrating a lot of deep core things that I've taken time to develop into a very extensive meditative practice. Like, basically, I've noticed some core ways on how I can be grateful for the depths of the things in my life. And I really feel like very grateful in the deepest sense. I don't know, it's weird. It's almost like without trying to categorize or, you know, define the entirety of what's going on, I almost think, like, if I'm being super clear, I think what I'm seeing here is as a human being, you know, that is my twin. I see a human being that unfortunately doesn't actually seem to be grateful for the things he has in his life. Like, it's like I can see clearly the product of a perspective that may just, on the deepest level, desire to return to gratitude. Like, it's almost like I see a human being that is continuously, you know, searching for something that seems to never fulfill his actual appeasement, to feel grateful, appreciative for the actual things in his life. It's like, it actually blows my mind sometimes. I mean, I'm a product of that myself too sometimes, but it's like I can see this so clearly as he's a lens of, or a mirror image of myself. Oh, I see YouTube. I thought everyone was just taking a pause, but it looks like YouTube was glitching out. YouTube was doing one of those beautiful things where it glitched out and didn't show me the comments. I just exited the live and re-entered the live, and here we are again. Yes. So after Garnet, Solemn set a star. Thank you, brother. Thank you for the star. I just unlocked these gift option just yesterday, but I'm really grateful for those that have, just even offered. That's what I like about the gift system is I'm not even sure how it monetarily translates. I'm sure it's, I think it's like, yeah, the cent or something per, which is beautiful. It's like a couple dollars, but the beauty is like, I really appreciate the sentiment. So thank you so much for, support this channel and just sending good energy. Thank you, Butcher. I'm doing great. I'm in the forest. I feel safe. I feel very safe and grounded in my body. I feel like, these streams have been really opening my perspective, continuously keeping me humbled and inspired. I feel inspired in my YouTube realm. And again, I think the stance that I really want to hold is I want to hold, and I might just take a moment to meditate and send some good energy to my brother. But I think my brother is removed right now from seeing a clear lens. At least he was with this emotionally charged thing. He's unpackaging a lot of fear-based narratives that don't seem to see the larger picture. He doesn't seem to see things with a clear vision. And I think for whatever reason, this is translated into him just not being able to actually understand how much he should feel grateful for the things in his life. Like, it's almost like, how can someone truly, like, not look at this reality and feel like, especially me and my brother, we have a lot to be grateful for in our lives, I feel. And it's unfortunate that maybe he can't see that in his life right now. And it is what it is. But I'm going to do a meditation and do a practice, kind of just honor his energy. Hopefully he finds clarity. And then we'll move on with the stream, Very Harry Potter-esque. I am you and you am I. We are one. And what I see within you, you see within me. And we are connected. We are mirrors. I am not separate from you, as you are not separate from I. Anyways, appreciate you, Obituary. I appreciate you, dog. Sounds intense, I understand how you feel. Not throw a ton for space. Hope you can make space for both, discuss boundaries for both of you. Yeah, it's a tricky parallel. Like, I want to honor his privacy and his, what he's going through, but it's a bizarre thing. Like, again, I can say confidently, I can say with utmost confidence that no matter the distortion, no matter how, difficult it may appear, from one perspective versus another, or, it's like he may sit with one part of how he feels about this and that, and, the narratives can become muddied. But I think what really speaks is the amount of presence. Like, it's almost like in the present moment, the way that one is able to successfully show up, or just, fall from presence or inability to show up, that says more than the woven, construct of intellectualized narratives of someone. Basically, someone can make claims, excuses. They can speak from emotionally projected or triggered places. That doesn't say as much as the way that they're able to say so with a place from intention or composure. It's almost like I'm listening more deeply and honoring what I think is not only the way I personally found myself be present with my brother's, projections or his emotions was going through. And I'm reading into more so the way that he unfortunately failed to successfully show up in a way that was actually present, that was actually seeing with clarity and actually processing the experience. And the words, like the intellectual narratives based out of fear, that is what it is. That has nothing to do actually with the greater depths of what was present there. But it was more so the ability or inability to hold presence for what was actually going on there. And for me, it was clear as day. Again, I saw a man that didn't appear to understand how to perceive what he was seeing with any clarity. But whether it was, the words I was saying or the conversation that we were trying to have or his ability to express, what he was trying to express in the moment related to his boundaries, it was like I just saw a man that was unfortunately did not have the ability to express himself with clarity, like without a shadow of a doubt. And it was almost like he was bound to see through distortion. He was, in some sense, devoted to seeing through a lens of distortion. That's all it was. And as I held space for that, I was like, this is unfortunate. And again, that's kind of where my mind goes, is this also seems like a product of a person that's not actually able to sit there and take a step back and look at the immense amount of things he's actually should be grateful for. It's like all he sees is fear. All he sees is fear-based narratives. All he's seeing is distorted narratives. And that's it, right? As a man that's literally gone through a vast process over the last few weeks, especially last week, to literally return to a genuine, immense sense of gratitude, it's unfortunate. Like, I empathize for him, but I think that's not my burden to bear. His distortions surely are not my burden. I think his presence was inappropriate. He composed himself more effectively. But I don't know, I guess c'est la vie. He just didn't have that ability. I appreciate it though. Appreciate you, Temple Line. It's unfortunate. I was enjoying. That's the thing, is these streams, as I said, they're very sacred to me. They always have been. And I feel like there's a sacred dance, that I desire to hold space for these. Whether it's like, here we are engaging a narrative, holding space for the comments, holding space for the music or whatever flows through. So when, there's these interactions, say my brother is dishonoring that sacred space, which is what I feel has been occurring. These blips where I'm like forced to exit the stream and address his emotional dysregulation. I feel unfortunately that's like stepping outside of this natural sort of sacred flow. But obviously, here we are. I guess it's a part of the sacred dance because here we are. I felt that before from family members. Yeah, done the situation, could do, done the situation was leaving. Yeah, well, fortunately, yeah, I left respectfully, went for a nice walk, and he had some things. The whole point, well, that's the problem. This is the sad reality is, for whatever reason, the consequences of his actions were his to bear. It's like basically he was ingesting poison and was confused that he was ingesting this poison. Like he had an unrealistic, distorted, very like emotionally charged perspective that he was sitting on. It's basically he was trying to, hold space for his own counsel practice, and he immediately chose to basically approach it in a way that was dysregulated, and this further perpetuated his own dysregulations and put more pressure and more, there's more negative energy into the whole thing he was doing, which the whole point of it was just like, it's actually paradoxical. It almost seems like it's almost like I feel in the simplest sense, this was a situation that's a perfect example of someone who's committed, like devoted, if not, to a distortion. You know, it's almost like for whatever reason he was very, very bound, or even say he was very like binded to whatever distortions he was believing in, and everything he did just perpetuated it. It's like whether he needed to, you know, have a conversation, it seemed to open up a wound, or, you know, whether he was like, okay, well, I need to go and do this. It's like he was existing in a weird paradox where his actions were contradicting what he actually was trying to say. And this is where the whole thing felt very weird, is like all he had to do was take responsibility for the fact that maybe he was not feeling very regulated, or it seemed like there was an extreme lack of taking responsibility for the actions that he literally just evoked. Like, you know, he just opened up this wound or this portal of whatever it was, like dysregulation, and then he's sitting here not able to close it. It's very bizarre. I think in my mind, a lot of this, because it was interesting, even it did warrant a little conversation where I was like, all right, you know, we're gonna have a conversation with the people of the household and have a healthy conversation, healthy and mature adult conversation about boundaries, about, you know, why you're getting so worked up, and etc., about this and that. And I was super open to that. Like, this is the thing that was very prevalent, was like, I was very open to taking full responsibility for the interaction. I was like, please, like, let me know, like, express your truth of what you're feeling, or like, you know, just let it all out. What you think is going on in your mind. And I remember telling him, you know, I'm fully ready to take full responsibility for the consequences of my actions in this situation. And the entire time, for some reason, he was completely evading that. So that was the kind of caveat, the end all. I was like, I think there's a strange level of failure to take responsibility for the role, you know, that he's probably playing, at least in this situation, in his own actions. It's very bizarre. Again, I can't, it's just like a weird little psychological, this is what being a twin is all about. This is what being a twin is truly like. This is, you know, just one scenario, but this is literally the allotment of my life. It's like, being a twin often, it thrusts you into complex psychological challenges or tests, experiments, if you will. Like, you're like thrusted into these like very unique little psychological challenges, or yeah. And this is literally the perfect example of that. It's like I'm sitting here in this like little psychological conundrum of like, you know, ego and all these little interesting psychological unravelments that I'm just like, you know, it's like, this is very unique, nothing to do with me, but here we are having to sit with this. That's exactly right, Caleb. But that's the truth, brother. That's what I was trying to sit with in meditation, is like, I am him. Like, nothing that he's dealing with is separate from me. Like, I can say without a shadow of a doubt, everything that he's been processing, I have gone through, and vice versa. Like, we're literally identical twins. We've both been on this we've been on this earth the exact same amount of years and days. Like, I'm 2 minutes older, but beyond that, it's like everything he's experiencing, I'm experiencing in some degree, and him, me. So it's like the amount of, you know, dissonance or distortion from that is unfortunate, because it's like, I don't want to act like it's like it's him versus me, or him or me versus him. I don't believe that. I don't take any of these to a separating degree. But it's important to remember, my goodness, what a blessing, it's finally working. Oh yes. Yeah, chat glitched out indefinitely for a nice little period of time. It probably had to do with, I think when the stream disconnects at a random blip, or the internet pops off. Thank you, Mona Lisa. Thank you, Obituary. Was this on stream? No, I think there was a moment my brother expressed and then I basically decided to exit the stream because he was getting very unruly, and I felt like it was only respectful to just have a conversation and just give him the attention. Well, that's the thing, brother. Like, without being like, what's the word? I don't know. Without being like outlandish about it, he literally just needs to sit with a healthy medicine experience. It almost seems like he needs to return to some core simple things. Whether this is just sitting in some meditation, like honoring and reflecting on what in his life is causing him this level of dysregulation and turmoil. Because again, this isn't rocket science. You know, if a person's dysregulated, if they're struggling with conflicting emotions, if they're seeing the world through a distortion and fear, like I'm no different. You know, we all experience that. We all can be a product of fear. I've had to literally devote this last week, literally to just like, you know, sitting with an extensive meditation practice to return to a place that is more honoring something outside of fear, a narrative out of fear. And you know, this is often where I unpackage this talk and this narrative about Osho's book, Love, Freedom, and Aloneness. Like really unpackaging what these words mean in a higher context, like really looking at it. I'm like, am I truly, am I truly operating out of a place of what we could say is sacred love or sacred freedom or sacred aloneness? And I came to some really deep conclusions about how I could basically expand my own perspective. And yeah, long story short, of course, pairing that with a healthy, very therapeutic lysergamide experience. Wow, look at this. This is part of what I was very happy to take you guys along. This is the forest, but we have petrichor. That is, everything is soaked in water. We got a nice damp forest here. Everything's fresh and alive. It's not pouring rain, but everything's been freshly rained on. So it's like we're in this little tropical or boreal, whatever it's called. I think it's like tropical boreal or boreal forest landscape. Yeah. It's just straight heroic trip that Nah, that's never the answer, Caleb. That's never the answer, brother. People should always consent to medicine. There's no, yeah. I know you're joking, but people must consent to medicine. There's no reason in the world where someone can never dose someone, and that's okay. You know, it's a sacred experience to sit with medicine, and yeah, stay grounded. Don't react or defend. Yeah. Give him full attention after. He's not attacking you, he's struggling with himself. No, well, that's the thing, Temple, is you're absolutely correct. In the moment, because I think what I sometimes do, because I'm his twin, I'm a human being after all, myself, of course, and I come to this place where I notice that I absorb his emotions very fluently. Like, in a sense, it's not about me, like, absorbing it and letting it fester, but it'll get to this place where if he's like coming from a place that's combative, he's trying to weaponize his words, it needs to be met with a firm level of almost like matching his energy in a healthy way. Like, you know, trying to almost offer a healthy lens of maybe like healthy integrated masculine energy or accountability. And I notice it's not a place where I desire to go. But yeah, you're correct. Is like, he's valid. Like, his emotions are valid. And even further to Temple is like, brother, it's like, it's so true. I've literally seen what my brother's been going through. Like, I know, this is, I think, what's hard about being a twin sometimes is I'm painfully aware, because I see it firsthand. I know what my brother is going through. Like, I know to some degree, like, I know his wounds. I know the wounds he's unpacking. I see with my own eyes. I've reflected back to him what he's going through. So I empathize. Like, it's literally like, I don't desire to be like, you know, I know he's struggling. And when he's struggling, it's clear as day. But it's also a part of it's like, I myself, you know, I'm an autonomous being. I have to realize, especially in the recent endeavors of me honoring what it looks like in my life, to really lean into what it means to integrate like sacred contexts of love, freedom, aloneness, and everything. Really, it's like I find myself returning to like a sacred relationship with certain things, and not just sacred for the contextualization of the word, but sacred in the context of like what really feels sacred and is expansive, what is operating from like a very healthy, integrated, open-hearted place. And yeah, so basically, long story short, I really empathize, and I find myself, in some rights, seeing the way that I don't think he even understands how to apply that kind of ideology of like, you know, basically understanding how to honor his own sacred boundaries. Like, it's almost like there's level, this is me just riffing as I do, but it seems like there's a part of him maybe that I'm on the same quest, you know, to learn to actually integrate and honor my own sacred boundaries. I think he's on the same quest, but for whatever reason, his actions as of today, as of, you know, I don't know, again, I don't want to hold him too in-depthly to his actions, but it's like that's expressed a person that seems to have lost touch with how to successfully honor and apply those sacred boundaries. I mean, say la vie. It's just almost like, you know, he's struggling to be like, but these are my boundaries, this is what's sacred to me, and maybe that's something he's unpackaging. And as a man that's literally devoted a week and beyond, going in depthly in meditation, really going deep and trying to make sense of what this looks like to me, it really seems clear in my mind where I'm like, but this is a person that hasn't successfully honed or processed that truth right now. And it's like on an unconscious level, he's really trying to grasp at that. But anyways, I'm gonna let that go. Sending him love. Again, returning to a sense of empathy, returning to a sense of immature, clear-headed, healthy dialogue that I really just desired to have. Like, in that moment, I could sense that's all he wanted. That's all I really wanted. I mean, he was scarce for time, but it's like all of this, as I really truly feel, all this really just requires is a healthy, composed, clear-headed conversation. Like, two people to be like, hey, let's have a clear-headed conversation and look at what we're trying to unpackage with a clear sight. And unfortunately, that was not present. Like, there was the absence of that. So we can, you know, respectfully let that go. Yeah. But thank you for sharing that, Temple, though. I'm sure he's gonna be all right. I remember I was separated from my family a long time. Yeah. Now I know to love my family no matter what. Yeah. Honestly, brother, the more I've been developing healthy relationships, you know, developing a business that I'm really happy with, like career moves and things that I'm really proud of and happy to be a part of, I have nothing but love for my family. Like, I really feel it's like I have nothing but wanting to desire the best for my family. Like, I want to hold space. I want to nurture the relationships I have with my family. And that's invariably sitting with my twin brother. But my twin brother is a separate entity that has his own karma, his karmically extremely tightly bound to me. So it's an interesting, it's again, I'm gonna return to the sort of playful stance of like, wow, this is that fun little twin psychological model of learning. Like, it's like, wow, what a beautiful, I'd say, a beautiful way to be a student of these kind of complex social dynamics. Like, what an interesting place to be in, where I, as a twin, have now another unique opportunity to learn about some of the most complex nuances of psychology. Like, really, it's like weird real world experience of psychological anomalies that I wouldn't really think of. Like, wow, this plays out in real time, but here it is thrust in front of my eyes. Whoa, this is weird. I just discovered this strange, what? It's a statue. What? So there appears to be some strange, like, spade. It's like a broken spade and some sort of strange, like, Greek statue that's missing its head in the middle of a forest. I don't know what this is, but we have some strange, like, Greek statue that's missing its head. That's a powerful omen if I've ever seen one. Wow. And then it's got the spade. It's almost like someone did like a ceremony here or something, like some sort of ceremony of a sort. Remember, I was separated from my family. Yeah, but those are beautiful words. Thank you for sharing, Hunter. I agree, brother. As I've matured, as I've grown more and more, it's like, yeah, family, especially as a twin, my twin brother is so deeply woven into me. Like, I can't, you know, I am grateful for the interaction I have with him. But with any level of, you know, powerful interaction or powerful karmic bond, it also requires a deep level of self-awareness and reverence of being like, okay, you know, this is a blessing. I'm grateful to have this powerful bond that is a twin. It's like almost like a high honor. It's like a high honor to be brought into this world as a twin, but it comes with very intense inherited challenges. And, I've known this for so many years, but as a full grown adult, it never baffles me. It never fails to surprise me to see this in real time. I'm like, whoa, like what? It's like, this is what, this is happening now? It's a bro journey. My bro's journey is not a spiritual one as well. Yeah. That's fair, Caleb. I mean, that's being said, my brother, that's the thing, is my brother is a very emotionally aware, intelligent being. He's my twin brother. Like, I agree fully. Like, the brother bond, that's a powerful bond. Like, your brother bond, your bond with the masculine as a whole, that is manifested in your brother. Like, I have an older brother who I really like. Like, me and my older brother have an incredible relationship. And always have, actually. But my twin brother, he's a separate entity that is struggling and projecting. And again, it's like I return to the twin experience is a very vast and complex psychological experiment. Like, the simplest right. It's a complex spiritual and psychological experiment that's only twins can truly understand, or people that, have that same sort of karma, like they've known someone for 30 years or whatever, and you're very closely connected. So there's inherited beauty that manifests from it, but also it's a very intense, dynamic. But brothers as a whole, like, I think that's, that's one that we can all relate to, many rights, I feel. Call story when a young man leaves his family with a lot of money. They were wealthy, he wasted it all. When he comes back, his father forgives him. That's powerful. Yeah. That's one of those things. The bond between a father and a son, I think, is like so sacred, like so powerful. I mean, in this world, in modern 2026 context, I think we witness a lot of loss of that sacred nature, for whatever reason. But yeah, it's almost like it's a force of nature, like the love of a father and son, like in a healthy, integrated spiritual context, is so powerful, where it's like it can like move mountains, so to speak. So it doesn't surprise me. Like, I've never known that, and I feel very honored, and one day I'll feel honored to have that bond, when I have a son, when I have a daughter in the future. But yeah, only speculative. I think it's beautiful to see the depths of love that, a father can have for their son. It's just powerful. And again, I haven't even known it, but I can see it. It's like, it's palpable. I want to say family necessary, important. Sometimes you have to protect yourself from your family, but good family. Yeah, well, that's the thing. For so many years, I've been fortunate to have a lot of clarity and healing and integration and whatever, but for so many years, I'm sadly a perfect example of a family member that's been very alienated, isolated. Like, I've almost, for many years, I've accepted in a very healthy way that, family is not just about blood. Like, I have always desired familial context, people that I can call my family, be it if it's like, I'm going to grow this in the future, find a beautiful partner and grow a family that, will really fulfill a healthy familial context. Because surely I don't think family is just who you're blood related. It can be a beautiful bond if you have it be so. But I truly feel like in the many years of my life where I've had to process this, my family, unfortunately, is not the quintessential definition of a familial context. For me, it's like, I look at a healthy family and I don't see it within my family as much as I have always desired to. And, maybe I'll nurture that. I'm certain I'll nurture and heal that in many ways. But I honestly think still familial context is a thing that, yes, it transcends blood. You can find this within your fellow human beings, with your community. You can grow this, you can build this, and find a deeper and more healed and integrated familial context than you've ever known. And it's beautiful. Like, I think it's healthy to always make that distinction and be like, you know what? Just because you do not have, maybe you haven't known a family throughout your familial context through your life, doesn't mean that you cannot nourish and grow a beautiful, thriving, and integrated familial context. And it's important things to think about. Yeah. I'd say meet him with empathy. Yeah. Yeah, well, it's a lot. Like I can see, you know, firsthand what he's struggling with. Like I literally see, I've seen it as it's unraveled, and I can only imagine, you know, as it's hitting a head, or there's certain things that he's really struggling with dealing with. But it's unfortunately, as a twin, like, I've spoken this very openly on this channel. You know, often when people are like, when I randomly go off on tangents about being a twin, just in an objective way, like, what's it like? What do you learn? What do you figure out? Simplest truth, being a twin will invariably teach you the most powerful dimension of healthy boundaries. Like, it just does. You know, I kind of jest part of why I feel like I'm able to successfully hold space for strangers, for streams, for relationships, like in the way that I do, that is set healthy boundaries, enforce healthy boundaries, is literally because I'm a twin. Like, I've had to, since I was born, before I was born even, I've had to conceptualize what it means to have healthy boundaries. I've basically had my boundaries dishonored so frequently in my life. Like, in this, just the sense of being a twin. It's like I've had to actually viscerally experience, and only out of necessity have I had to be like, okay, well, now if I don't set healthy boundaries, if I don't honor my boundaries, I will suffer. And yeah, so I think in the simplest right, all I'm saying is, this is another powerful, beautiful lesson to be like, you know what? This is a lesson of realizing the potency and the value of healthy boundaries. You know, trying to honor his boundaries, honor my boundaries, but still returning to, again, honoring my boundaries and trying to just sit with that. Yeah. This is a beautiful, beautiful landscape though, man. I'm sure I say this like a billion times. There's an argument in my mind for that. Yeah. Remember when I was youth in rehab, I saw families that had familial. I'm poor about talking about trauma. Apologies if I mistake about the families traumatized. Normal families, from what I learned, is no bad family, only broken ones. No, that's valid. That's valid, friend. It's honestly only after a tremendous amount of like integration and healing and finding happiness, you know, with healthy support and love and relationships and etc., where I've looked at myself and be like, okay, now I'm ready to like really mend, you know, my relationship with, say, my father or my other family members, in a sense of like truly trying to be open-hearted and embrace that which is there, and take full responsibility for being like, okay, like, how can I see the way to navigate this in a way that's still honoring myself and is still emotionally mature enough to respect myself. And yeah, part of that is, you know, maybe realizing when to enforce true boundaries on that. So yes, there are no bad people, only broken people. Yeah. These are deeply woven parallels. Like, I gotta say, as much as part of me feels a little bit disjointed to, like, you know, uproot the entire stream to discuss this, there's a lot of beautiful things flowing through, and I appreciate you guys' perspective. It's like, really, like, no matter what, like, myself removed out of this objectively, I think there's some beautiful things that are so healthy to shed light on. Like, really, these dimensions of just simply honoring boundaries and familial context, and yeah, I'm trying to really just empathize and see with clarity, because this is the core thing. Like, you know, I've been unpackaging this for like 20 minutes now, it seems. But the reality of this is very simple. All of this has warranted the same truth in my mind. You know, and I'm at peace with the way this is unpackaged, is a person that sees this dimension of clarity. Like, if a person sees any dimension of clarity, they're like, you know what? I desire to see things for what they are and acknowledge that I cannot see things for what they are, and, you know, try to have some peace with that. A lens of clarity really is, as I've spoken in the past, that is like the hallmark of spiritual growth. Like, the whole point of why you attain or desire to attain any dimension of spiritual growth or integration is literally just to be able to see with a clear lens. It's just this, it's just that. You know, you're like, how can I see through the illusions? How can I hold space for the things around me in the world with a clear sight, with a clear lens? And yeah, so I think the reoccurring lens, or the reoccurring reflection that I clearly saw is like, if in this instance my brother had the ability, which unfortunately didn't, maybe he's just emotionally charged, etc., boundary this, that, if he had the capacity in that moment to really like sit there and take a step back and be like, okay, am I looking at all these things with a clear lens? Like, am I actually looking at the fuller picture of what is really like, burdening him? Like, if it's emotions or boundary this or that, if he really was able to successfully see it with a full lens of clarity, would this still operate the same way? Like, would he still feel this need to almost look at it or attack it or weaponize it from like a lower vibrational place? And again, that's where in my mind, the answer is obvious. And it's not because I'm sitting here trying to pretend I, know all what's going on in his psychology, but from a guy that's literally devoted his week to taking a step back and really reflecting on what that looks like in my life. Like, realizing that for many rights, for a period of days and etc., I could see how my own lens was basically becoming more fear-based. It was maybe not seeing out of clarity, maybe becoming a little dysregulated. And I caught that. I acknowledged that. I saw that. And I literally spent an entire week to recalibrate, to literally just try to focus on trying to see the bigger picture and seeing basically where I was operating out of fear. Like, that's literally been the byproduct of a week of doing so. And I feel great. Now I feel like truly like the way I've approached like dimensions of how my interpersonal relationships and how I'm managing certain elements of my business and my own boundaries, it's all been really saturated from a lens of clarity. Now, obviously, I have a ways to go. I have things to do. I still have a far ways to go in the larger picture, but it's given me a lot of peace where I'm like, as much as fear, can seep in, I can know for a fact that I feel like the ability to manage these things, to deal with these things, is truly there. And how fortunate do I feel to at least feel that? I don't have to become anything. I don't have to do or be or become or go any given place. I mean, I do, but if this is like the mentality that's been flowing through, that I've literally been just saturating in my being. It's like this last week since doing this Lysergamide experience, I've literally just saturated my being in this last like 5 days with the feeling of being like, like, let us find a way to give ourselves permission to just be as much as humanly possible. And it's not just a narrative. It's not just a forethought. It's not just a sort of a platitude. It just is. It's like my being understands. It's like I really feel like I've taken the time to really let myself feel that feeling of being like, but I can just accept that I don't have to do anything. And again, I think for me, it's clear as day. Like, as a YouTuber that's literally been chasing that dopamine grind for like several months, my entire livelihood has been fixated in a healthy way. It's been forged. It's been rooted from a place of being like, hey, we're growing into a new vision that is so beautiful and so prevalent that it's actually taken priority over some dimensions of things that I know nourish my body. And it is so. Like, it is what it is. Ryan and me are very alike. We empower people and know what people around us are capable of, how powerful they are. We also see the people could act more balanced, I think. That's a beautiful truth. Well, I appreciate you sharing that, brother. And I've noticed that early on in our interactions, brother. Like, I've surely noticed early on, you and I seem to have very similar values and, philosophies. And that's beautiful. Like, I think that is a beautiful reflection in a world where historically, I've actually always felt very alienated. I've just accepted that there's not a lot of people in this world that seem to share the values I have, and that's okay. I play a very specific role, and I really appreciate you sharing that, brother. Like, I feel like it's nice to know there's a level of like, people that align in a similar place. And I'll be honest, that's the cardinal motivator for me as a creator, as a performance artist. Like, I hit this moment many years ago where, my path of being an artist, of being like, okay, I'm going to make music and put myself out there and perform and connect with communities. And it's the same vision where I'm like, okay, I'm going to be a YouTuber. I'm going to start to build a community and a business and travel the world and blah, blah, blah. It's all been from that central same intention of being like, you know what? I want to put my energy out there because I want it to ripple. I want to find my kindred spirits. I know that in my immediate reality, in my family, in my familial context, a lot of people in my community, they're just not, unfortunately, for whatever reason, they're not aligned or resonant in the same way, and that's okay. And I find the more I've led with that core intention of being like, it's okay, I'm putting out my energy with the desire to look at the larger construct, weirdly enough, paradoxically, I've actually found that the people that are aligned in my immediate community have found me more and more and more. It's almost like I've led with an authentic truth, like an authenticity that has been like the forefront of my intention. I'm like putting my authentic energy out there as much as humanly possible, and it almost like immediately creates this like reverberation, or more like this attraction. And it creates this like powerful attraction that's impossible to avoid. It's impossible to ignore from my immediate community. Like people around me, like, oh wow, this guy's like on something. He's doing something significant. Let us see what this is. And then in time, our paths will come closer and closer together. And it's very interesting. It's like a paradox. It's like a very interesting paradox, I would say. What's good, Kirsten? What's good, brother? Welcome Toronto from British Columbia. Toronto seems chill as fuck, gotta say. Toronto is almost like, it's like a second BC I could see, or like similar to Vancouver, but surely, distinct. It's got its own qualities going on, but from what I've gathered, when I've met people from Toronto and just like looking at the city, it seems like a very kindred place. Wow. There's something that just occurred to me though. I mean, this is again me maybe just oversharing, not even oversharing, but openly conceptualizing the things that are relevant within my sphere. But I almost think part of what I just kind of realized what I think might be happening in relation to why my brother, just a theory, why he might be so overcome with, lower vibrational emotions, fear, dense emotions, whatever it is. It might be clear as day. I mean, for the privacy of him, the privacy of the context of this, I'm going to keep this to myself and make sense of it and maybe reflect and unpackage it. But I think what I'm simply saying is I think it's actually come clear as day to me why exactly. And this is not a good thing. This is kind of like, I think it all comes down to my similar core realization about my brother's inability to take consequences for his action, even beyond taking consequences. I think he doesn't realize the weight and the role that he's playing in his own victimization or his own, negative energy or whatever. But yeah, I almost think if I'm going to be simply forthcoming, I think this is a classic case of someone trying to bite off more than they can chew. Like, this is what I think is kind of evident in my mind. I think I've kind of identified that I think my twin might be in a little acute case of biting off more than he can chew, if we're going to make it a very simple little, conclusion. This week, the sacred spirit medicine has been extremely harmonious for the healing that required deep nourishment lately. Wow. That's magical, butterfly botanist. I love to hear that. I'm happy to hear that. And I imagine, wow, like in relation to your own personal endeavors, that's phenomenal. And I have to say, because you just joined here, I'm not sure if you're new to this channel, but the absolute truth is I agree. And I feel the same way, friend. This has been like a massive wave of intentionally integrating, like in a very, again, intentional way, specific medicines. It's almost like the core theme is if you choose, and I speak of this very openly on this channel, like this is kind of a very core belief of mine is, and I was doing this actually as I was doing a cold plunge yesterday, I spoke of this exact mechanism is medicine, we're talking about, as we're going to see in this channel, our friendly plant allies, lysergamides, the fungi variety, all of our plant allies and medicines. These only hold as much weight as what we can basically hold the capacity to listen for. Basically, these medicines aren't as significant as the ability that we hold to listen deeply to the messages and the way the universe is guiding these medicines into our life. Like, this is the core truth. I've seen this over and over and over again. And this is, the basis of integration, right? It's like, a medicine can be a medicine. You can choose to make it. You can choose to do a medicine or not or whatever. That's your free will. But it will not serve you nearly as much as the experience of that which is aligned with alignment, basically. I'm basically speaking about alignment. All those words were just kind of coming to the simple conclusion is, yeah, if you can let the universe align the medicines on your path in a very aligned way, like you can listen to the messages, the symbols, the symbolism, the synchronicities that are guiding this medicine experience onto your path, you can successfully do that. If you can listen deeply, that is what my experience is what translates. So it's not simply the act or the medicine alone that is the thing. It is the how deep can you listen? Whoa, losing my foot in a little bit. But how deeply can you listen to the way that the medicine is aligning with your path, that it's inviting you? And if it's not inviting you, then you need to be even more patient. You need to listen even deeper, because you can take a medicine, you can not take a medicine, you have free will. Maybe it depends on how old you are, your journey and relationship with these things, but it's going to come down to how deeply can you listen to the way that this medicine is aligning with your path. And I don't know, I'm just saying this objectively. I know for some of you that are well versed, as well, then we agree and understand that to some degree. If you're new, have never engaged in a medicine at all, we're talking about psychedelics, just keep that in mind. It's like, honor the path, the alignment, honor when and the way that these medicines enter your path. It's not very complex. I'm using lots of words, but it's like, it's simple. Look at the way, the level of alignment. Like, you see, maybe you have a dream, maybe you have a messenger, a guide, or like a thing that's guiding you. Maybe it's like you see this in symbolism, or maybe it's like a friend of a friend, or a person in your life that's reflecting a perspective that's inviting you to align yourself with a certain medicine. It's just simple stuff. Like, I'm making it very, poetic and esoteric sounding, but it's like simple truth. It's like, just look in your life. Like, how are all the things in your life guiding you towards something? Is there synchronicities? Are things synchronizing? Like, but this is the path. This is the medicine. This is the time, basically, for you to take this medicine. If that's not the case, then listen deeper. Listen deeper. Allow yourself to be more patient. Sit and listen and look closely to see the way it's aligning. Because when it aligns, like, you're like, everything is pointing me towards this medicine. Everything in my being is guiding me towards this engagement, this journey, this ceremony, whatever it is. That is when you're going to find the most beautiful translation. Anyways. Hey, I had my winter percussion finals. Wicked, that's dope, Jonathan. Group won the whole competition. New England. Wow. I mean, yeah, brother. Always happy to share your joy, Jonathan. Thank you for sharing, brother. I'm curious to learn more about you, brother. Like, in the future, to Jonathan. Like, I'm curious to hear more about your endeavors, and if there's like some place where I can see your performance, or if they like record your orchestration, that'd be tight as fuck. But that's dope, bro. Definitely sending love to England, to New England from British Columbia, brother, because that's awesome, dog. We all could gain so much from just, beautiful, curated group musical acts in every right. Sometimes people are struggling. They act out, break boundaries, and respect. If they can meet them, empathy and boundaries, that can really heal people. Yeah, it's weird because, again, like, objectively, if I'll deep dive a little bit or just offer a bit of transparency, I'm not what's the word? I understand boundaries. Like, I'm a student of honoring boundaries. I literally, basically, I spend a lot of time and energy really intentionally thinking about, boundaries as a whole. Like, in the most immediate sense, in my life, in my people's life, in the people in my life's life. like in my partner's life, and when I'm on the dance floor and I see an allotment of people and this and that, and it's like I'm not perfect, but I know for a fact I really revere the dimension of boundaries. Like, it's just a huge part of my life. And yeah, I can always do better, I'm sure. I can always be like, okay, how can we, as a twin, set in course even more, But it's, yeah, it's an interesting parallel. Keep creating amazing content, friend. Thank you. I mean, we're creating some free form kind of, I don't even know what to describe this. This is just roving through the forest, being candid about my own psychological state and, extension of what's been unraveling my day. But today's been dope as fuck. Like, that's what's kind of bizarre, is like, I can only imagine if the stream didn't get derailed or just didn't get uprooted, so to speak. That's more of the case. It's going in its direction it needs to go. The railing is on course. But I think the uprooted nature of it, I think there would have been something very magical. Like, this is where, as I kind of spoke of like 10 or 20 minutes ago, these streams to me are sacred. Like, I treat them in the utmost context, they're sacred. The flow of it, the integrity of it, the spacing of it, like, I really treat it with sacred reverence in the most, every definition of the word. And it definitely has me openly question or challenge the things that maybe basically are playing on a role of challenging or even just like penetrating the sacred nature of it. Like, we could say, I wouldn't say my brother's context is entirely valid, but we'll use my brother as like an example. Maybe someone that's just like, desiring to just interject their presence and basically compromise the sacred nature of the stream of how I desire it to be, right? Maybe they just do something that's very unruly and I'll just like send them on their way or whatever. But it's like, in the real world, it's like, I almost think it's like an energetic thing that if there's people in my sphere, in my reality, that for whatever reason don't understand what it even looks like to treat something like, say, a stream. Like, this is kind of a paradoxical thing. I don't think there's a ton of people in this world, maybe I'm wrong, that look at their stream space or a YouTube channel or whatever they're trying to, with an actual sacred context. Not that they don't desire to. Hell, maybe they think they really believe they do and they're, upholding that intention. But I think it's a thing that you have to really constantly desire to integrate. It's almost like you got to apply this in every element of your life. Like, it's either, you've successfully allowed yourself to achieve some, context of honoring things in a sacred context of things, which again, that's a very multi-dimensional word. But when I mean sacred, I'm really just meaning it's something that I revere. I treat with a lot of respect and care. And yeah, it's like, I really feel like it means a lot to me. So when I see things like, say, it's like my brother uprooting certain elements of it, or even taking my brother out of the equation, like if someone were to question the integrity of my stream or desire to, paint some negative picture of what it is for whatever reason, maybe they have a negative projection of YouTubers as a whole and that's what they're operating out of. For me, that is a invitation to return to continuing to crystallize my own sacred context of being, okay, like some people in this world, they're removed from aligning with the intention of this channel. And maybe in the simplest way, let's just make it simple. It's like, there's people in this world that don't understand people's intention with being, say, a YouTuber. I'm like, okay, for me, this is like a very aligned part of my path. It's a very sacred path, if you will. But, some people in this world, it's okay. They're going to look at this and be like, I don't get it. Or they're going to be like, oh, but I don't understand, or this doesn't make sense. For whatever reason, maybe they just never seen a YouTuber that does things that align with themselves. Who knows? But that's just an actuality in the world. And I think it kind of makes me think and look at this objectively. It's like, my brother is maybe just a mirror. He's a lens of people in this world that haven't fully processed or developed a relationship, at least in the context of me and him, to see the deeper intention of what this channel means to me. And it is what it is. Like, it's not like that's a thing, that's a healthy thing to sit with and face, I'd say. You've lived them, breathe through them. To find faith, can people navigate his life, leading by example as a way to inspire. Thank you, butterfly botanist. May the seeds, butterfly botanist. Now I remember who you are. I see you there. I see you there, Amber. Bless. No wonder you have such a beautiful... Immediately I was like, who is this beautiful poetic soul? Offering some beautiful perspective, but magic. You've lived them, breathed them. I appreciate you, Amber. I'm happy to have you here. May the seeds you've tried to help plant find the root in growth plentiful. May he follow you upon connecting with the self so deeply. Ashe. Thank you, Amber. Beautiful words as per usual. Beautiful words. And exactly, it's, the entirety of this moment, like the context is simple as I was just hosting this beautiful live stream, performing some music, unraveling as it does organically, and I guess there was a bit of an altercation or a bit of an indifference in perspective from my twin brother, and unfortunately he was emotionally charged, and it kind of escalated to a point where he was just getting emotionally charged, and we exited the space and we've been kind of processing, and I think he just needs empathy. He as himself objectively needs to return to gratitude. I hope he kind of sees with a deeper lens of clarity, and it is what it is. Wow. Yeah. Magic. The gift left beyond the forest spirits. This may sound weird, but I really like the conflicts. You're not wrong, brother. You're not wrong. Like in the context where, in some regard, you're right, is the very human nature of these types of conflicts. Even like objectively looking at it, as a twin, I always find it funny. Like even as a teenager, a lot of people, in many rights, I wouldn't say enjoyed, but they found it very, I would say, grounding, or very almost like sobering to see me and my brother have to air out conflict. Like it was weird. It was like in high school and beyond, like when me and my brother used to sometimes get in little quarrels where it's just like arguments and they would just get a little bit heated. It was like, interestingly enough, our friends would often, obviously diffuse them or just be like, but often some of our good friends would kind of just, it'd be like sobering. It'd be like a reminder of like, yes, we're all just humans. We all have our altercations, it's like we're only humans and this is okay. And it's like, I think, it's good to learn, honestly, even just looking at this. My Siamese twin. Nothing gets past you, Maddie. I salute your ability to see clearly. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Temple. Honestly, your warm sentiment definitely, it rings through. It rings true even through this stream space. And honestly, I just feel grateful, like I've sort of emulated for the things in my life as of lately. The ability to sit with the Surgemides for that period and just integrate or deepen this meditative practice and see the way this is unraveled. Like I feel in-depthly grateful or infinitely grateful. So it is what it is. If you were healthy, focused, enforcing boundaries, we're saying the opposite. If you were healthy, focused on you, enforcing boundaries, you would be understanding of the opposite. If you were healthily focused on you, enforcing your boundaries, would you be understanding? Depends on the situation, Hunter. But invariably, most cases, if you're healthily enforcing your boundaries, if you engage what it looks like in the moment to honor your boundaries, enforcing them. So basically it depends. It can go either way. But in most cases, honoring your boundaries, enforcing your boundaries can be something that is, coming from a place that is very direct. Direct communication, being like, this is, you being like maybe just a simple word of like an authoritative word, being like, what, this is, maybe very emotionally honest words, like saying, I think that this is inappropriate, that you are feeling like you can dishonor a boundary. I need to set a boundary, out of all due respect, I need to set a boundary. I feel this. It's just like having a grounded but but very clear and direct form of communication can sometimes go a long way. Because again, if we're talking about in the context of maybe a light sort of endeavor, these things should be played intuitively in the moment. But sometimes, like the simple truth, like the hunter's question is, I think that in the case of boundaries, it's really important to basically realize that there's some people in this world that are unfortunately operating on a very malicious place. Like if you're in an extreme situation where someone is overtly malicious or even manipulative, or they're undergoing some sort of mental pathology, these are often instances where, yes, having like a direct, clear ability to communicate and enforce your boundaries is important. And I think that's just important to be said. Most people that don't operate out of like a really triggered or maybe a pathologically dysregulated state maybe won't apply that way. But I think boundaries are important for many different things, but especially in instances where you're experiencing people that are operating out of psychologically damaged defense mechanisms, pathological things like narcissism or manipulation. Those are surely instances where enforcing healthy boundaries, like setting a very clear and very direct, be it if it's just like honoring your ability to disconnect from this person, be like, you know what, I'm gonna respectfully set this boundary and then just be on your way. Like that's often what in those instances healthy boundaries looks like. But yeah, I think letting yourself peacefully disconnect like in an emotionally intelligent way without trying to get too emotionally invested is often the role. If you can really look at it in an emotionally mature way and process and integrate it, that serves yourself and the other party if they are a well-adjusted, emotionally regulated person. I don't know. I'm not sure if that answers your question, but our phone's getting pretty low, so we're probably going to head back into our studio. And I think our twin's probably done. He's probably done doing his thing, preaching to the choir when it comes to finding a true alignment. Yeah, c'est la vie, c'est la vie. I mean, again, I have to say the paradox is bizarre when I noticed how the more I became at peace with recognizing that, okay, this world is vast and beautiful, and accepting that, the role that I play is a rare one, the energy that I have is a rarity, it paradoxically almost allowed myself to naturally gravitate with those that did actually align with my values and path more. It's almost like the more I accepted that this world is vast, this world is so much more than just simply what is right in front of my eyes, maybe my familial context or whatever, it made me see with a clearer lens and a humble heart that allowed me to then invite people that are authentically aligned with my values and with my my disciplines and practices. It just allowed the door to be open even further so it's a wild paradox. It's almost like the more you let go, the more you invite and attract, like in the simplest right. So that's I think an interesting part of it. It's like, we may feel like we are alienated or our values and our, the rare energy that is us may be difficult to be reciprocated. But in the simplest truth, the more you let go of that very core dimension of it, it's almost like you can then be open to be received by the universe at large. And that's the kind of core philosophy that stems into many things, is like the more we can, it's almost like, the quantum and metaphysical philosophy can affirm in that truth of how we as humans, the more we let go the idea of knowing, like we can embrace that we just don't know, and we step into the larger manifestation portal that is in the unknown. That is where we can find deeper alignment. That's where we can actually see our power and our autonomy to then attract what we desire to attract in this world and create what we want to create in this world. Yeah. But I know it's funny. I was reading that comment, not fully aware, because I've been kind of looking at the screen, but it didn't fully process that, yes, butterfly botanist, that I'm speaking to Amber. But it's absolutely, I beautifully agree, and it is the truth. It's like, yeah, it's like all of us, those of us in the same realm, the same continent, all of us worldwide, like we're all desiring something beautiful and deeper. And it's a beautiful, exquisite paradox sometimes for us to see what that looks like and how we can let go to allow ourselves to then attract. Truly, I've also felt alone in my values. Yeah, it's... Thank you, Temple. Thank you, brother. No, I know for a fact you are definitely a kindred soul. I'm glad that resonates. I'm glad that resonates, brother. I think we're gonna do... My phone is getting pretty low. But still got some life in it. I think I'm gonna do some pan flute stuff, guitar stuff in this beautiful little gazebo near this house, and then we'll make sure we can head into our studio and do some music stuff. Wow, what a beautiful day though. Still like, and it's funny, I haven't even taken my cold plunge today, but once this stream ends, it's gonna be a beautiful, beautiful day. Do some running and cold plunge. Let's not do that. Bless you, brother. Love you too, sending out love, Temple Line. But there are best in share the values, the frequencies, where angels we chose to incarnate our pure love and compassion. Yeah. I've some very wavering past few weeks in terms of my personal faith and meaning behind all the regardless, good or bad. Needed the medicine. Yeah. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you, Amber. That's awesome. Honestly, again, yeah, it's funny. I swear, this beautiful embrace with lysergamides, as using code word because we're streaming, but it's been magic. It's been very magical to like return even just the simplest embrace. I don't know if you all guys are familiar with a compound called Kanna, Kanna. Oh, that's in mine. I've been tentatively engaging a bit of Kanna. It's a very light, it's like a psychoactive compound. It's like a naturally occurring cactus. It's like a naturally occurring serotogenic compound inside of a cactus. It's played definitely a subtle role, very subtle role. Hands are a bit cold here, but yeah. My ears, my hands, my heart, my body, my mind, every way possible. Wave of realization. Damn. I love that for you, Amber. I mean, I can sense just talking to you, through Facebook stuff is like you're on a very potent journey. Like you're on a rare quest. So I love hearing your perspective continuously and mine to every possible wave of realization to find my way back to no place I know I carry within. Yeah. That's so cool. Thank you for sharing. That is wonderful to hear. Yes. Thank you, Temple. Yes. Oh, 10%. Feel the spiritual flow in humanity as well right now. Yeah. I feel it too. I've noticed it. I've seen it reflected back to me. Surely. 51%, 49. Moves you in the quickest way to ascend. Meditations. So beautiful, brother. Will open up to you. It's the most magical things I've done. The meditations, the phone. Yeah, that's so dope, bro. Honestly, you inspire me again to like, you know, I've been deepening my meditation practice like really beautifully in these last 4 or 5 days. But again, that's, brother. Thank you for sharing your perspective on how that unravels, dog. Yeah, I mean, I'd say to Floyd, to Hunter, brother, I think you may be operating out of the sort of paradox of how Osho likes to unravel is to be selfless in the truest, highest definition of what selfless actually means. You have to be profoundly selfish. Society, as Osho likes to say, has it backwards. You know, society, we often have misconcepted models of these deeper dimensions of things. Like, you know, we have these models of what we think love is, but it's not actually often what true sacred love is in an unconditional open sense, as is with trust. And yeah, Osho openly speaks of this in a lot of his books, how what you might be identified as selfish and selfless, maybe very much paradoxically backwards, is it takes a very selfish person, as defined by society, to actually exercise true selflessness. And the opposite is also true. A lot of people that think they're exercising selflessness are actually operating out of a dimension of selfishness. So these are models that maybe society has painted a lens over that actually aren't reflective of what the truer nature of these things are. And simply put, a lot of people, based on society's models of selflessness and selfishness, is actually paradoxically flipped. So it takes a very selfish perspective to actually honor what it means to be selfless. It takes and many people who hold a selfless perspective, as they might think it is, are actually operating in a very selfish place. And it's like, it's a broken model. So I think paradoxically, what you're sort of conveying is you're not, it's okay to be selfish in the healthy context. It takes one that honors the self, that like reveres and cultivates and builds the self in a healthy way, to actually understand how to be full, to be abundant, to be able to hold space for operating out of selflessness. You know, if a selfless person, so to speak, in the quotation of the definite definition of who they think they are, they're empty in how they are, and they're trying to operate out of a place where they're constantly trying to fill themselves up, like they're doing selfless acts. But it's more of like a moral philosophy paradox, where they're trying to then actually operate of a very selfish agenda. That's not selflessness. So, you know, Osho really invites us to see the way these things have been sort of split. So I think that's possibly what you're referring. Yeah. Beautiful wisdoms indeed. But small and leading towards giving is the key. When everything does on earth. Yeah. Absolutely. Like if a stranger is one of those people who takes, then I tend to distance myself. Yeah. 2 paths to enlightenment, service to self, the evil path to enlightenment, or 951 service. Interesting. Well said, brother. Absolutely. Giving outward is just as important as giving inward. I was pouring much of my time nourishing outward. Maybe less than I noticed originally sending inwards. And for me, yeah. Yeah. Thank you, brother. Yeah, my hands are a bit cold, in truth, from roving. I mean, I can still play, but I feel like I can notice that some of the legato combos are getting a little bit off key or off flow, but here we are. Why, thank you, Amber. Butterfly. Yeah, no, I've been really feeling this beautiful domain here. Really feeling this G sharp, capoing this fourth from standard. Beautiful sound. Honestly, infinite possibilities. It's almost like improvising, layering in dimensions of the melody on the flute from Last Samurai. Often that melody's in my head a lot. Facts. That's fair, brother. It's 2 a.m. in Denmark. Man, yeah. It's like midday. It's like what are we at? 5 o'clock. Okay, it's later than I thought, but I mean we've been streaming for 3 hours, so yeah, that makes sense. Fair enough. Well, feel free. We'll probably. I have to charge my phone. My phone's at like 10% because I've been out on the fly. But we're probably gonna go back to our studio and plug in. Probably stream for another 10, 20, 30 minutes, and then we'll, be on our way. That's wild though. Thank you, brother. Thank you for receiving me, dog. Honestly, it's been a great stream. It's funny how again, this brief interference, and then going for a little walk. It was the way. It was how it had to. I don't know. But rest up, brother. Rest up, brother. And thank you for being here. Hitting most of those melodies. It's getting my hands are a bit cold, so some of those fine legatos or those tappings getting away from me. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, we should probably head inside of the studio now. Charge my phone, because it's gonna die. It's gonna die pretty fast. Okay. Despite the chill on your fingers. Thank you, thank you. I'll have to say, thank you. Appreciate you, Amber. It's dope having you here. Your energy is very, very beautiful. As we are, I actually play a lot when I do a lot of cold plunges. So I notice, even if my hands are cold, I'm very good at just doing, lots of freeform movements that are acclimated to the cold. It's almost like, as I've done cold plunges very frequently, as I was telling you, I've been yeah, for the last like 4 or 5 months, especially, successions of 40 days and then 30 days. And then I'm on day 10, I believe, as of recently. So yeah, my body is very at home in the cold. Strangely enough, like it's like whether I'm in the cold temperature or just chilling outside or do a cold plunge and my body's adjusting. Yeah, it's very comfortable in the cold. It's almost like it associates it with a healthy primal connection and like a healthy dopamine release. And it's also, yeah, it's made it so I can play guitar and outside, even when my fingers are kind of cold, which I was not always able to do. Yeah. Interesting. Life is about being happy. Way related to it. Let's see. Thank you for sharing gifts. Yeah. For you, is life about being happy or any way related to it? No, actually, I wouldn't say innately enough. Like, I know when people ever try to connect to understanding what happiness is no, I've actually, in truth, for me, life is pretty simple. Like, my core, I'd say, central value is just to live authentically. Strangely enough, being happy is a product of living authentically. For many years, it's like I've been a guy that's really focused on really unpackaging what that means, what that looks like to live authentically. To just honor my authenticity, to honor authenticity in others, and yeah. So the thing is that simple. Is I don't desire to be happy per se. I don't really. I've never focused on that. Because I think happiness is like, if you think that I'm just going to be happy, I'm focusing on just being happy. And it is a very mental thing that obviously doesn't take a lot quintessentially and philosophically to be happy. But happiness is a byproduct of living an authentic life that you're honoring. It's like, sometimes happiness is the byproduct of really pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, of really embracing and understanding, integrating discomfort. Yeah. I don't know. It's a tricky one. Because, yeah. Among a discussion about them has been wishing to do them daily. Ah, that's beautiful. No, honestly, to Butterfly, yeah, it's, I cannot speak highly enough of cold plunges. Like, just in my own personal experience, the transformative potential and what I've seen that's unraveled in my life in these last, succession of the 30-day and then the 40-day and the last 10 days even, it's like, the difference is night and day. Like, I cannot advocate enough. I mean, I say this to everyone and I have these conversations, with a uttermost sincerity, but it's like, it's not for everyone. Not everyone can it is for everyone in some context, but not everyone can wrap their mind around what I'm actually talking about, right? They can't actually like really understand that what is on the other side of integrating a consistent cold plunge practice. Like, I try to emulate it. I've made videos about it. I've underlined it very openly. It's like, the nervous system regulation, which is powerful and extremely vital in this world. And naturally the dopaminergic regulation. Like, there's just so many powerful things. But those two alone, like just having healthy, regular, consistent exposure to a regulated nervous system and a healthy form of dopamine, those two things alone are life-changing. Like, genuinely, those two, and that is what cold plunges inevitably offers. So if you get that from anything, it doesn't have to be cold plunges per se, But that's invariably the reality, is like that, those two things, like regular, consistent, and the key thing is they have to be consistent. You know, if you have a exposure to like a regulation of the nervous system or a dopaminergic reality that is healthy, that is organic, that's aligned with nature, and it's every once in a while or every, you know, a few months or every week or whatever, that is not going to truly shape or paint the perspective of what it actually looks like to reprogram it. But I think it's a process. It's a gentle process. You know, we're talking about cold plunges. It's like, surely cold plunges are, they require nuance. They require a gentle level of progression to adjust your nervous system to. Like, I get it. I've been doing them for years, and you know, I'm in a place where, for me, I can successfully do them pretty much anytime, anywhere, every single day. Sometimes twice a day, sometimes more. Like, my nervous system is successfully adjusted, but it wasn't always that way. Like 3 years back, it was really not the case. All right, we're successfully plugged in. Got 173 gems. Nice. So I'm assuming that's, yeah, it's like $1.73 or something, or however that works. Yeah, nice. I'm Japanese, I'm a YouTuber. Nice, brother. Welcome, welcome, Japanese YouTuber. I love Japanese people, I'll be honest. I really would love to go to Japan. Yeah, we're from British Columbia. We're a Canadian YouTuber. It's great though. Now we're plugged in to here. Yeah. Yeah. I've improved my breathwork during singing. Breathwork is, yeah. You know, I'm a student of learning vocalizing, and especially like I'm really a fan of Adam Gontier. His style of singing, where Adam Gontier, he uses a lot of like really intense vocal fry belts, where he's like activating in his like his deep in his chest, and he's like belting like full on. Very difficult to do, truthfully, but it really seems to like require just full mastery over the diaphragm, like in such a powerful way. And whether it's with singing or breath work or just speaking, it's a very beautiful thing to explore. Let us see. Let us see. My meditation is simple. Does not require any complex practice. It is singing. It is dancing. See you all soon, brother. Or see you. Yeah, see you soon, bro. I feel that Tokyo is a city of the future. Tokyo seems so awesome. You know, the culture. I mean, Japan in general is super cool, but I gotta say, yeah, I think Tokyo is really cool. It's gonna be fun to see it one day. Currently moving and washing the bedding before going to sleep. Cheers. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Or brother, yeah. I feel that Tokyo is, I feel that. to say this before I look at vibration frequency chart. Pride is just below mid frequency under courage. Enlightenment authenticity is the highest frequency. Yeah, I believe I've seen that. I'm gonna give that a little look. I know like that's came across my feed in some context. The frequency chart. Yeah, I think we're approaching the 3.5 hour mark. I feel like we're gonna give ourselves a moment, do a nice deep meditation, make some food. Maybe, I don't know. I did a strength training yesterday. I almost feel inspired to do another gym session today. I don't know exactly. Feel into that. I'm going to be recording some vocals with some local band center owner sometime soon. Hey, that's awesome, man. Recording some vocals. That's fun. Yeah, I've been in a studio a handful of times doing a similar kind of thing, like just yeah. It's super fun to go into doing those like refined studio vocal takes. Yeah. Brilliant.